Chapter 3080. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan sighed. I didn't expect the Western Mystery Mountain to send Su Fang. His strength, talent, and identity are all extraordinary. Unfortunately, he can't be our bait. A realm lord asked in confusion. Su Fang is the disciple of the Western Mystery Daozu, the #1 genius of the human race. His strength is comparable to an ordinary Dao saint. Isn't that the best bait? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan shook his head and said, According to what I know, Su Fang is arrogant and despotic. He offended the Punishment Grand Elder in the Western Mystery Mountain. If the Western Mystery Mountain knows that he is trapped in the Six Paths Heaven, why would they send experts here? Just killing Su Fang is not enough to shake the Western Mystery Mountain. It won't even weaken their strength by much. I see. Then what should we do? The other realm lords fell into deep thought. After a long time, the realm lord wearing the devil mask suddenly smiled and said, This is simple. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan asked, Lord of the evil spirit realm, what good plan do you have? We just need to change the plan. Let the dark cunning cult and heavenly coffin attack the Six Paths Heaven and besiege it. At that time, the Western Mystery Mountain will have no choice but to send experts to rescue them. At that time we will shackle them. There's no need to fear that the Western Mystery Mountain won't send more experts. As long as they enter the realm of reincarnation, even a half-step Daozu won't be able to return. The evil spirit realm lord said tirelessly, his face full of confidence and pride. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan nodded and said, This plan is feasible. A realm lord asked, If that's the case, our Six Paths Heaven will be the bait. Then what should we do with Su Fang? We can't kill him for now. He is still useful. Why? The leader of Heavenly Coffin still refuses to submit to the sacred race. They are still in the dark about the alliance with the Dark Cunning Cult. They don't know that the Dark Cunning Cult and Six Paths Heaven have already become a hidden force of the sacred race in the Western Mystery Divine realm. That Su Fang's strength is extraordinary. We can use him to weaken Heavenly Coffin. It will be much easier for the sacred race to subdue Heavenly Coffin in the future. That's right. Especially the young master leading the Heavenly Coffin this time. Although he only has the cultivation of the upper Dao Void realm and hasn't reached the peak, he has a strange and incomparably powerful ability. He's extremely similar to the legendary spider. Isn't the spider in Su Fang's hands? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's eyes were filled with fear as he said, No one knows the reason. Young Master Tian Coffin has devoured the fate of countless cultivators and mystical worlds in the Six Paths Heavens. He has also killed countless experts in the Six Paths Heavens. Even I have to be wary of him. I can use Su Fang to eliminate him. I reckon even Su Fang is no match for young Master Tian Coffin. Seeing that the experts of the Six Paths Heavenly Dao were almost done with their discussion, Su Fang's destiny avatar quietly left the isolated dimension and returned to his palace. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that the Six Paths Heavens would have such a grand scheme. Now that I know about it, I will not let them succeed. Su Fang pondered for a while and finally made a decision. He had to inform the sovereign of the invasion in advance. Otherwise, the Western Xian Divine region would be in danger. As for the Six Paths Heaven scheme against him, Su Fang didn't care much about it. The Destiny Avatar flew out of the isolated dimension and arrived above the dojos where the experts of the Six Paths Heavens lived. After sensing for a while, Su Fang's Destiny Avatar flew straight to one of the dojos and entered the interior of a cave residence. In the depths of the cave residence, an intermediate Dao Void Realm cultivator with a goatee was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. With this person's cultivation and the fact that he had a dojos in the world of reincarnation, he was at least a powerful elder. However, so what if he was a powerful elder? The Destiny Avatar appeared in the cave residence, but the goatee elder didn't notice it at all. He was still immersed in his cultivation. Su Fang's destiny avatar's eyes suddenly surged with the aura of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. It condensed into a life-pulling karma thread that fell between the eyebrows of the goatee elder and shackled his fate. Bang! The elder immediately sensed it and suddenly opened his eyes. However, in the next moment, his eyes became confused and then revealed a look of submission and obedience. Su Fang's destiny avatar flashed and directly entered the elder's Dao palace. In this way, Su Fang used the life-pulling karma thread with the heavenly secret life-shrinking technique to control the fate of the elder. The elder was like a marionette. His fate was completely out of his control. Go, leave the world of reincarnation. Su Fang's destiny avatar transmitted its thoughts to the elder. Under the influence of fate, the elder didn't have the slightest will to resist. He obediently walked out of the cave residence and quickly left the world of reincarnation. While passing through the Xian Gate, the elder was interrogated. I am under the orders of the Divine Lord to go out to the world of reincarnation. How dare you stop me? The elder shouted coldly and ordered the cultivators of the 6 paths heavens guarding the Xian Gate to retreat. Then, the elder passed through the Xian Gate and went straight to the Xian Gate that led to the Xian Mountain. It turned out that Su Fang's destiny avatar was residing in the body of this 6 paths heavens elite. He was going to return to the Xian Mountain to inform the sovereign of the 6 paths heavens scheme and the invasion of the other races. Su Fang's original body sensed that the destiny avatar had left the world of reincarnation. Only then did he feel relieved. His original body needed to stay in the world of reincarnation to avoid alerting the enemy and to stabilize the Divine Lord of Reincarnation. The destiny avatar used the life-pulling karma thread, causing Su Fang's physical body to consume a lot of life force. He had to swallow some of the foreign race's Daozu's blood to quickly recover. At the same time that Su Fang arrived at the 6 paths heavenly reincarnation world, outside the heavenly fortune cave in a Xian world not far from the 6 paths heavens, the heavenly coffin young master also received the jade slip he had the thief bring to him. The heavenly coffin young master grabbed the jade slip. The jade slip immediately melted and turned into a lifelike image of Su Fang. Heavenly coffin young master, how have you been? You escaped quickly in the chaos tide, but this time in the 6 paths heavens, you won't be so lucky. Prepare my luck spider, I'll take it back at any time and take your head at the same time. Su Fang's figure let out a domineering voice and quickly turned into nothingness. Finally, it turned into a Xian Guang and disappeared. Su Fang. The heavenly coffin young master gritted his teeth. I didn't expect you to come to the 6 paths heavens too. Then, he waved his hand and grabbed at the heavenly fortune cave. A spider monster that couldn't be seen with the naked eye and nascent soul flew out of the heavenly fortune cave with a dense purple aura. At this time, the luck spider had grown to 3 meters long. Its body was crystal clear, as if it was carved out of ice. No one would have thought that such a perfect monster was a terrifying star of misfortune that could devour Xian worlds and cultivators' morale. Su Fang, oh Su Fang, life is full of ups and downs. Do you think now is still the time when the chaos tide is fighting for treasures? Although my cultivation hasn't increased by much, my luck spider has devoured no less than the Xian worlds of 10 directions and countless cultivators' fates over the years. It's now close to adulthood. Not to mention you, even a powerful Dao saint would find it difficult to defeat the luck spider. It's good that you've come to the 6 paths heavens. I'll use the luck spider to devour your fate and let you die a miserable death in the endless tribulations. The heavenly coffin young master looked at the luck spider and laughed maniacally. Then, with a thought, the luck spider suddenly opened its mouth and spat out a thin line of nothingness. It landed on the kneeling bandit. Asterisk sizzle, asterisk in the blink of an eye, the bandit's fate was completely sucked away. Although losing one's fate wasn't fatal, losing one's fate meant losing the protection of heaven and earth and being rejected by the heavenly Tao. A vast and illusory heavenly Tao's repulsive force instantly crushed the bandit into meat paste and then ashes. The Lux Spider was now so powerful. Seeing the Lux Spider's amazing ability, the heavenly coffin young master became even more proud. His heart began to swell. He now had the courage and boldness to fight even a Tao saint. Realm of Reincarnation, Bliss Palace. Su Fang sat majestically in an independent space deep within the main palace. From time to time, a sensing force would pass through the formation to sense Su Fang's every move. Su Fang sneered in his heart and pretended to be oblivious. In reality, he had released the heavenly devourer insects and had them quietly leave the formation space and sneak into the depths of the realm of reincarnation. Since the realm of reincarnation was the center of the 6 paths of reincarnation formation, there must be a formation core hidden deep underground. Su Fang planned to let the heavenly devourer insects find the formation core and destroy it. In this way, Su Fang would have no worries and wouldn't be afraid of the 6 paths heavens stirring up any trouble. Without the 6 paths of reincarnation formation, Su Fang didn't care about the 6 paths heavens cultivators, including the recently ascended Tao Saint Lord of Reincarnation. About 10 years later, Su Fang, who was sitting cross-legged in the valley, suddenly opened his eyes. His deep pupils revealed a joyful look. It turned out that he had sensed a stone pillar buried deep within the realm of reincarnation through the consciousness residing in the heavenly devourer insects. On the stone pillar, there were strange divine runes that intertwined to form an image of an evil spirit. The stone pillar was hidden very well and was connected to the entire 6 paths of reincarnation formation. It was the formation core of the formation. Such a grand formation definitely had more than one formation core. Su Fang let the heavenly devourer insects devour the inside of the stone pillar but didn't destroy the divine runes on the outside. Then, Su Fang let the heavenly devourer insects continue to search deep underground to find all the formation cores and destroy them. The skinny old man of the 6 paths heavens suddenly came to the Bliss Palace and transmitted a voice to Su Fang. Su Fang Da Lord Sacred Lord and the 6 Realm Lords have invited you for a meeting. What is it? The Dark Cunning Cult and the Heavenly Coffin Bandits suddenly attacked the Wraith Realm and Azura Realm of the 6 Paths Heavens. Thus, Lord Sacred Lord has invited Su Fang Da over for a meeting. I understand. Su Fang immediately agreed. However, he was sneering in his heart. Indeed, according to Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the 6 Realm Lords' secret plan, the Dark Cunning Cult and Heavenly Coffin Bandits started to attack the 6 Paths Heavens. Su Fang followed the skinny old man and arrived at a solemn yet eerie palace. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the 6 Realm Lords were already waiting in the palace. After Su Fang entered the palace, he glanced around and saw an empty throne on the right side of Sacred Lord Luanzhuan. It was obviously reserved for him. Su Fang smiled indifferently and walked forward calmly. However, he didn't sit down. Instead, he waved his hand and swept out a godly aura, moving the throne directly to Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's side. Then, he sat down on the throne. This way, Su Fang and Sacred Lord Luanzhuan sat side by side. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's eyebrows furrowed. His eyes exuded a sinister aura. Chapter 3081. Su Fang looked at Saint Lord Luanzhuan and said arrogantly, Saint Lord Luanzhuan, you and the other realm lords didn't even show your face when I came from the Western Mystery Mountain. Now that the enemy is here, you are ordering me around like a subordinate. Looking down on me is the same as looking down on the Western Mystery Mountain. Do you know your crime? In the entire Western Mystery Divine Realm, the Western Mystery Mountain had the highest authority. It was the sky above the other factions. Su Fang came to the 6 Paths Heavens on behalf of the Western Mystery Mountain, and he only came because of the 6 Paths Heavens' request for help. After Su Fang came to the world of reincarnation, none of the 6 Paths Heavens giants showed their faces. After being scolded by Su Fang, Saint Lord Luanjuan and the other Six Paths Heaven's realm lords were speechless, and their auras were suppressed by Su Fang. Saint Lord Luanjuan quickly stood up and clasped his fists at Su Fang. I and the other six were busy fighting against the enemy. We have neglected the people of Su Fangda, please forgive us. The other six realm lords had no choice but to stand up and bow at Su Fang. They had no choice, they didn't want to fall out with Su Fang just yet, so they had to be polite. Su Fang snorted and stopped pursuing the matter. He wanted to use this opportunity to gain the upper hand and not be led by the nose by the Six Paths Heavens. Speak, what is the dark cunning cult and heavenly coffin doing? Su Fang sat on the throne and asked as if he was the true ruler of the Six Paths Heavens. Although Saint Lord Luanjuan was furious, he had to answer politely. The dark cunning cult and heavenly coffin bandits only attacked the Six Paths Heavens Xian worlds and other factions, but this time, they are attacking the Azura world and evil ghost realm of the Six Paths Heavens. Moreover, they have powerful experts with them. The situation is very dangerous, which is why Su Fangda is here to discuss how to deal with the enemy. Su Fang nodded and asked, what is Saint Lord Luanjuan's plan? Saint Lord Luanjuan clasped his fists and said, Su Fangda and Western Mystery Mountains experts, please help the Six Paths Heavens overcome this crisis, and Six Paths Heavens will be eternally grateful. Who knew Su Fang, however, shook his head and said, I came to the Six Paths Heavens this time just to guard and deter the Nether Cunning Cult and the Heavenly Coffin Bandits. I have no intention of fighting. Sacred Master Luanjuan and the Six Sector Lords were shocked. Sacred Master Luanjuan had no choice but to plead and promise to take out all kinds of resources and treasures to ask the cultivators of Su Fang and the Western Mystery Mountain to help. As soon as Zhong Yu mentioned the benefits, Su Fang's eyes lit up and he agreed. If that's the case, then I will help the Six Paths Heavens resolve this crisis. Thank you, Su Fangda. Sacred Lord Luanjuan was pleasantly surprised. But in truth, he was laughing coldly in his heart. Once the Tao Saints from the Western Black Mountain arrive, I'll take back everything you've taken from the Six Paths Heavens, and I'll even take your head. Thinking of the treasures Su Fang had obtained from the Chaos Heavenly Tide and the Time Mirage, Sacred Lord Luanjuan's greed burned fiercely in his heart. Then, Su Fang asked, between the Dark Cunning Cult and the Heavenly Coffin Bandits, who's stronger? Tao Saint Luanjuan replied, naturally, it's the Dark Cunning Cult. After all, the Heavenly Coffin Bandits are just a bunch of bandits. Other than the leader of the Heavenly Coffin Bandits, and the young master of the Heavenly Coffin Bandits, the others are nothing to be afraid of. The Six Paths Heavens wanted Su Fang to fight with the young master of the Heavenly Coffin Bandits to exhaust the Heavenly Coffin Bandits' strength. Naturally, he described the Dark Cunning Cult as very powerful. As long as Su Fang was not an idiot, he would definitely choose the Heavenly Coffin over the Dark Cunning Cult. However, Su Fang's choice was completely out of Tao Saint Luanjuan's expectations. Since the Dark Cunning Cult is so powerful, then I'll go to the Azura world and help the Six Paths Heavens defeat the Dark Cunning Cult. Sacred Lord Luanjuan quickly stopped him. I heard that the leader of the Dark Cunning Cult is a Tao Saint. How can we let Su Fangda face such a powerful enemy? Leave the Dark Cunning Cult to me. Su Fangda only needs to deal with the Heavenly Coffin Bandit. Su Fang sneered in his heart, but he spoke with conviction. Do you think I'm someone who's afraid of death? Since the Western Mystery Mountain sent me to the Six Paths Heavens, I'll naturally take the lead and face any difficulties. Leave the Dark Cunning Cult to me, there's no need to say anything else. If the people of Su Fangda are injured by the cultivators of the Dark Cunning Cult, how will I explain it to the Western Mystery Mountain? Absolutely not. It's just the Dark Cunning Cult, why would I be afraid of them? Just like that, an extremely strange scene played out in the main hall. Su Fang and Sacred Lord Luanjuan both fought to deal with the more powerful Dark Cunning Cult. The scene was extremely strange. The six realm lords of the Six Paths Heavens were all dumbfounded. In the end, Su Fang made a domineering decision. I've decided, Sacred Lord Luanjuan, don't fight with me anymore. Otherwise, I'll take the cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain and leave the Six Paths Heavens. Sacred Lord Luanjuan had no choice but to agree. Only then did Su Fang leave embarrassedly. Sacred Lord Luanjuan frowned. Su Fang actually took the initiative to deal with the dark cunning cult. Could it be that he saw some clues? Azura Realm Lord shook his head and said, Su Fang is young and inexperienced. It's impossible for him to see through the Six Paths Heavens plan. I think he thinks the dark cunning cult is easy to deal with, or he's afraid of young Master Tian Coffin, so he made such a choice. Then what should we do? Let's borrow the hands of the experts of the dark cunning cult to kill Su Fang. After all, he's a disciple of the Western Mystery Daozu. Once he dies, the Western Mystery Mountain will definitely send out powerful experts to investigate. At that time we'll have bait. Sacred Lord Luanjuan hesitated for a moment, and a ruthless look flashed in his eyes. He nodded and said, Fine, that's the only way. I'm just afraid that the dark cunning cult won't be able to kill Su Fang. Azura Realm Lord sneered disdainfully, Lord Sacred Lord, you think too highly of Su Fang. No matter how heaven-defying he is, he's only at the intermediate Dao Void realm. On the other hand, the dark cunning cult master is a Dao saint, and he even received a powerful treasure from the sacred clan. How could he not be able to kill Su Fang? That's right, Lord Sacred Lord, you're thinking too much. The other realm lords also agreed. Only then did Sacred Lord Luanjuan make up his mind. Then, he raised his eyebrows, and a fearful look appeared in his eyes. It seems like I'll have to deal with young Master Tian Coffin personally. This is really giving me a headache. Su Fang returned to the blissful palace. The heavenly devourer insects sent him another message. They found another stone pillar in the depths of the reincarnation realm and destroyed it from the inside. Su Fang ordered the heavenly devourer insects to continue searching for other formation cores, and then waited for news in the blissful palace. The Six Paths of Heaven quickly sent over a large amount of resources, making Su Fang quite a fortune. Su Fang gave a portion to the Western Mystery Mountain cultivators, and took the rest for himself without hesitation. After waiting for more than 10 days, the Azura Realm Lord's voice came. Everything is ready in the Six Paths of Heaven. I invite Su Fang Da and the Lords of the Western Mystery Mountain to head to the Azura Realm together. Wait a moment, Su Fang said in a dignified manner. Then, he transmitted his divine sense to Ling Xiaozi and the others. Let's go to the Azura Realm. Under the Azura Realm Lord's lead, Su Fang and 100 Western Mystery Mountain cultivators arrived at the mystic gate of the Reincarnation Realm. The Reincarnation Realm was the center of the entire Six Paths of Heaven, and it could quickly travel to the other six paths through the mystic gate. Su Fang and the Western Mystery Mountain cultivators stepped through the mystic gate and left the Reincarnation Realm. When they reappeared, they were already in an unfamiliar mystic world. This mystic world was very strange, and its aura was suffused with a sinister killing intent. The entire mystic world was shrouded in a blood-red fog, and it was very lifeless, as if it was an Azura hell. The Six Paths of Heaven's world was very different from the other mystic worlds of the Western Mystery Divine Realm, and each had its own unique characteristic. The Azura Realm's environment was like this, and it made Su Fang feel like it was a valley of blood. Outside the Azura Realm, more than 100,000 Nether Spirit Cult evil cultivators were madly attacking the barrier, and the entire Azura Realm was in turmoil and panic. Su Fang carefully sensed the situation, and found that although the Nether Spirit Cult cultivators' attacks were fierce, the wind was strong and the rain was light. It was obvious that these Nether Spirit Cult evil cultivators had received orders from their higher-ups to not attack the Nether Spirit Cult with all their strength. Let's go, and get rid of all these evil cultivators, Su Fang shouted at the Azura Realm Lord domineeringly. Under the Azura Realm Lord's lead, Su Fang, the Western Mystery Mountain cultivators, and more than 100,000 Azura realm cultivators charged out of the barrier. Su Fang projected his sensing power. Among the many nether spirit cult cultivators, he didn't find any Dao saints or powerful void Dao experts, so Su Fang didn't have any thoughts of attacking. Is this it? Huang Li ran over Man Si by Ling Xiao Zi, lead everyone and kill those evil cultivators. Remember, be careful at all times. Su Fang transmitted his divine sense to Ling Xiao Zi. Ling Xiao and the other Western Mystery Mountain cultivators came to the 6 paths of heaven to complete a mission, which was to kill evil cultivators. When they returned to the Western Mystery Mountain, they could exchange the points for resources and rewards. Although there were many nether spirit cult cultivators, they didn't have any powerful experts. On the other hand, these Western Mystery Mountain cultivators were experts from the Wine Saint Peak and the Heaven Breaking Peak, so there was no need to worry about their safety. The only thing they needed to be wary of were the powerful experts of the Nether Spirit cult. 100 Western Mystery Mountain cultivators charged toward the Nether Spirit cult cultivators. Su Fang also released his subordinates from the Dao Palace. Qin Yu, Bai Ling, Xiao Wanting, Qin Heng, and the Big Goblin were among them. There were more than 3,000 people in total. They had been on the strange Silence Peak for so many years, but they never had a chance to fight. Now that they finally had a chance to use their skills, they were all excited and charged toward the Nether Spirit cult with murderous intent. Su Fang was afraid that something would happen to Qin Yu, Bai Ling, and the others, so he immediately released Gue Gue and followed them. As long as they were in danger, Gue Gue would take action. Su Fang looked at the Azura Realm Lord and asked coldly, "What? This Lord's subordinates are working for the Azura Realm. Are the Azura Realm cultivators going to wait and watch the show?" The Azura Realm Lord was very helpless. He could only brace himself and order the Azura Realm cultivators, "All of you, go out and kill the evil cultivators of the Nether Spirit cult." 100,000 Azura Realm cultivators swept toward the Nether Spirit cult cultivators like a crazy tide. A chaotic battle unfolded outside the Azura Realm. Whether it was the Nether Spirit cult or the Azura Realm, only the higher-ups knew about them colluding with other races. These ordinary cultivators naturally had the qualifications to not know. Therefore, the battle between the two sides could be said to be real sabers and spears, and the scene was extremely tragic. There were people dying constantly. Blood splattered across the sky, and floating corpses were everywhere. Chapter 3082. Su Fang stood with his hands behind his back, looking coldly at the battlefield in the distance. The strength displayed by Bai Ling and Qin Yu was especially shocking. In the Chaos Tide, Su Fang used the Time Mirage to trade with many Void Dao experts and obtained countless treasures. Among them were the blood essence and spiritual items that Bai Ling and Qin Yu needed to increase their demon power, as well as the powerful Xian Bao. At this time, the strength displayed by Bai Ling and Qin Yu was close to the Void Dao realm. Ordinary profound Dao realm cultivators could not withstand their sharpness. Su Fang had always treated Bai Ling and Qin Yu as his family. Now that their strength had increased to such a level, Su Fang was quite gratified. As for the Azura World Lord behind him, he was gnashing his teeth, wanting nothing more than to devour Su Fang in a single gulp. Among the dead and injured cultivators, besides the cultivators of the Dark Demon cult, there were also cultivators of the Azura realm. Su Fang's subordinates and the cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain had almost no casualties. The Azura Realm Lord was naturally heartbroken by the deaths of the Azura Realm cultivators. These were all elites that he had carefully nurtured for many years. How could he not feel heartache when he saw them die in battle? The Dark Demon cult cultivators had also suffered many casualties. After the Azura Realm Lord was unable to explain himself, he was deeply worried. And all of this was because Su Fang did not play according to common sense. How could the Azura Realm Lord not hate Su Fang? Although he hated him, the Azura Realm Lord did not dare to show any abnormality. With Su Fang's strength, he could directly crush him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. More than a dozen dark demon cult experts appeared from the void. A monstrous dark aura instantly enveloped the void, and the chaotic battlefield immediately became quiet. These dark demon cult experts all had extremely powerful auras. Among them, there was a peak upper void Dao expert, who should be a big shot like the great elder of the dark demon cult. There were also 3 upper void Dao experts, and the rest were middle void Dao experts. Obviously, the situation was different from what the upper echelons of the dark demon cult had expected. They could not sit still. However, the sect master of the dark demon cult had not appeared yet. As a dignified Dao saint expert and a sect master, he naturally would not easily appear. All of you back down. Su Fang ordered his subordinates and the Western Mystery Mountains cultivators. The Nether Cunning Cult's experts were not something they could fight against. You killed so many of our people, and now you want to leave just like that? One of the Dark Sneak Cult's higher-ups shouted with killing intent. Then, he looked at Qin Yu and Bai Ling and snorted, "These 2 big goblin are especially arrogant. Stay here obediently and become my mounts." As soon as his voice fell, the figure of the Nether Ghoul cult's elder flickered and instantly teleported to less than 1,000 feet away from Bai Ling and Qin Yu. Then, he abruptly separated his hands, and a ghastly white profound light flashed. It transformed into a skull that was 30 meters in size, and it abruptly sucked in Bai Ling, Qin Yu, and the surroundings. This person's cultivation has reached the middle stage of the Dao Void Realm, far surpassing Bai Ling and Qin Yu. Under the divine ability of the Dark Demon Cult expert, they had no ability to resist. Their bodies were controlled and their souls were shackled. Together with more than a dozen middle-stage Azura Realm cultivators, they flew towards the Dark Demon Cult expert. Suddenly a grayish-black cloud swept out from the side and was sucked into the skull. The Dark Demon Cult's elder was also instantly shrouded by the grayish-black cloud. Sizzle! The ghastly white skull immediately turned black and was corroded with a sizzling sound. Black smoke was emitted, and it was quickly corroded into pieces. The Dark Demon Cult expert's defense was also quickly corroded and penetrated by the grayish-black smoke. His flesh quickly rotted into black pus and fell off layer by layer. In less than 10 breaths, this person was corroded into a pool of black blood. Even his Dharma body and soul couldn't escape. The corroded black blood and grayish-black cloud swept out and was swallowed by a black-robed man. It was Gue Gue who had transformed into a human. More than a dozen Dark Demon Cult's elders, as well as many Dark Demon Cult and Azura Realm cultivators, were all shocked and horrified. Qin Yu, Bai Ling, and the Western Mystery Mountain cultivators took the opportunity to fly towards Su Fang. At this time, another 3 Dark Demon Cult's elders roared and attacked. One of them was an upper-stage Dao Void Realm cultivator, and the other 2 were middle-stage Dao Void Realm cultivators. "You're courting death," Su Fang sneered. A white Xian Guang flashed out of the Dao Palace and instantly appeared above the 3 Dark Demon Cult experts, turning into a steel ring. It was the King-grade Xian Guang that Su Fang took from Hu Lingyi, the Rui Heavenly Dipper Wheel. Boom! The Rui Heavenly Dipper Wheel suddenly erupted with a spatial distortion divine power, enveloping the 3 of them. Then, the Xian Guang flashed, and the Rui Heavenly Dipper Wheel and the 3 Dark Demon Cult experts teleported away. The white Xian Guang suddenly appeared, and the 3 Dark Demon Cult experts appeared beside Su Fang. Sizzle! 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 3 blood vines were rolled out by Su Fang and directly pierced into the 3's bodies. Under the shackles of the Rui Heavenly Dipper Wheel, the 3 couldn't move and could only watch as the heaven-piercing Blood King vines devoured their vitality and blood. The 3's bodies quickly shriveled up, and their auras also quickly withered. Soon, they turned into 3 dried corpses. This scene caused all the cultivators to be shocked and tremble. A Void Dao Realm cultivator could be considered a powerful expert anywhere in the human world. But Su Fong killed a Void Dao Realm expert as easily as slaughtering a chicken. Moreover, his method was so strange and terrifying. How could everyone not be shocked? The Dark Demon cult experts were frightened and didn't dare to attack Qingyu, Bai Ling, and the others. This allowed Su Fong's subordinates and the cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain to calmly retreat. The cultivators of the Azura realm also all retreated. Su Fong, how dare you kill my sex experts like this? The leader of the Dark Demon cult's higher-ups was a gray-haired, gray-robed old man. He stared at Su Fong and let out a thunderous roar. The Dark Demon cult is an evil force that secretly colludes with foreign races. As long as it's a human, anyone can kill them. I, Su Fong, am a disciple of the Western Mystery Daozu. You're causing trouble in the Western Mystery Divine Domain because I want to kill all of you. Aren't your words extremely laughable? Su Fong sneered disdainfully. The divine light of the Azura Realm Lord beside Su Fong changed instantly, and his heart thumped non-stop. How did Su Fong know that the Dark Demon cult has joined the sacred race? Hearing Su Fong's words, the cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain and the Azura Realm, and even the evil cultivators of the Dark Demon cult, were instantly in an uproar. The gray-haired old man of the Dark Demon cult shouted angrily, Su Fong, don't speak without thinking. Although our sect is evil, we are also part of the human race. How could we collude with foreign races? Su Fong sneered. Whether or not we collude with foreign races, you higher-ups of the Dark Demon cult know very well. You don't have the qualifications to talk to me. Ask your cult master to come out. My cult master is an expert. What qualifications do you, a mere intermediate Dao Void Realm cultivator, have to meet him? Su Fong, this seat has long heard of your reputation, but unfortunately, I have never met you. Since we've met today, this seat wants to see if your reputation is undeserved. If you have the guts, come fight this seat in the Primal Chaos Divine Domain. The gray-haired old man looked at Su Fong and snorted disdainfully. Then, his figure teleported into the distance. After killing you, the cult master of the Dark Demon cult will naturally appear. Su Fong sucked his subordinates and the cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain into the Dao Palace, and then chased after the gray-haired old man. As soon as he appeared, numerous Dark Demon cultists attacked from all directions. There were more than 10,000 of them. Among them, there were more than 100 Dao Void Realm Nether cultists. With such a large number and such powerful Dark Demon cultists gathered together, the Death Chi and Dark Demon aura filled the sky and enveloped Su Fong, causing Su Fong to feel as if he had fallen into a dark underworld world. The gray-haired old man's complacent voice sounded, Su Fong, how could this seat not know of your strength? This seat has to admit that this seat is not your opponent, so how could I fight you head-on? Now that you're surrounded by this seat's Dark Demon cultists, even if you have the strength to kill Dao Void Realm experts, you won't be able to escape death. Just these monsters that are neither human nor ghost want to plot against me, Su Fong? Su Fong revealed a disdainful expression. Then, he used the My Lord's 10 Directions seal. The overbearing divine might of the 10 Directions heaven and earth, and only he was supreme, instantly shattered the Death Chi and Dark Demon aura in the surroundings, forming a barrier that enveloped all the Dark Demon cultists. More than 10,000 Dark Demon cultists were trapped in Su Fong's world. Everything was under Su Fong's control, and their strength was also suppressed. However, these Dark Demon cultists were incomparably ferocious. They all exploded with terrifying Dark Demon aura in an attempt to shatter the world. 9 Suns Heavenly Wheel. Su Fong used the 9 Suns Heavenly Wheel. The 9 divine suns hung high in the world, releasing the profound Sun Divine aura and constantly consuming the Dark Demon cultists' aura. Su Fong used the Ghost Demon cultists' poison to instantly fill the entire world, crazily corroding the bodies of the Dark Demon cultists. Cries that sounded like the cries of ghosts resounded in Su Fong's world. Before the dark demon cultists could even approach Su Fang, they fell under the unceasing attacks. The gray-haired old man from the dark demon cultists saw that the situation was not good. He hurriedly activated the Xian Bao and fiercely attacked the world that Su Fang had created with the My Lord's 10 Directions seal. After an incense stick's worth of time, Su Fang's world suddenly collapsed. Of the 10,000 dark demon cultists, only 100 were left. Moreover, all of them were heavily injured and could no longer be used. Su Fang, you actually killed so many of my cultists, dark demon cultists. My cultists will not rest until you are dead. The gray-haired old man was shocked and furious. He let out a murderous roar at Su Fang. You'd better worry about your own life. Su Fang revealed a domineering smile. A powerful killing intent suddenly erupted and instantly enveloped the gray-haired old man. Blood light surged, and the old man seemed to have fallen into a blood prison. A blood-red Su Fang flashed out of the blood prison world. He waved his blade, rolling out a river of blood light that slashed fiercely at the gray-haired old man. Blood prison soul-slaying blade? The blood prison soul-slaying blade in his hands actually has such astonishing power. The gray-haired old man's divine light instantly changed. This person was an expert of the evil path, and the blood prison soul-slaying blade was a great ability of the evil path. Naturally, he was not unfamiliar with the blood prison soul-slaying blade. Chapter 3083. Ghost King's Sacred Armor. A layer of white profound light gushed out from the gray-haired old man's body. In an instant, it condensed into a set of ghastly white bone-like armor. Even his face was covered with a layer of ghost mask. This armor was a Xian Bo of the Evil Path King grade Xian Bo Qi. The blood-red saber light arrived in an instant and landed on the gray-haired old man's armor. There was a cracking sound, but it did not shatter. Even the massacre will could not break through the armor's defense. The gray-haired old man was forced back more than 100 miles, and a deep crack appeared on his armor. With a flash of white light, the armor quickly returned to its original state. It looked as if it had not been damaged at all. Not only did this Xian Bo have shocking defense, but it also had the ability to self-recover. It was truly extraordinary. The gray-haired old man laughed sinisterly. Su Fang, even the sect leader, a Dao Saint expert, could not break through my Ghost King's sacred armor's defense, let alone you. Although your strength is extraordinary, what can you do to me? Is that so? I just obtained a Xian Bo. Just nice, I can use your armor to test its power. Su Fang waved his hand, and a pair of scythe-like Xian Bo with a terrifying aura that could freeze one's soul appeared in front of him. This pair of Xian Bo was the forelimbs of the extremely powerful ice praying mantis that Su Fang had obtained in the extreme chill maze of the ice praying mantis in the Ice Soul Sanctuary. He had traded the time mirror with a treasure refining master in the chaotic heavenly tide, and finally refined this pair of Xian Bo. The ice-praying mantis forelimbs were not only extremely sharp, but also extremely tough. Even the cold currents in the depths of the extreme chill maze could not break them. It was clear how tough they were. Furthermore, they had been carefully refined by a top treasure refining master. The quality of this treasure had reached the king grade, so its power was naturally extraordinary. Because this pair of Xian Bo exuded a cold aura, the ice-praying mantis was also known as the Saber King. Hence, Su Fang named it the Cold Saber King. Break. With a thought from Su Fang, the cool and elegant Saber Monarch turned into two cold Xian Guang, killing between the stone and the fire. Stop! A furious roar came from the void. Then, a will that only Dao Saints possessed surged out from the void. However, the cold and elegant Saber Monarch still fiercely slashed at the gray-haired old man. Chi-chi! The two beams of cold light intertwined and actually cut apart the gray-haired old man's profound armor. The gray-haired old man was also cut into two pieces. The cold air released by the cool Saber Monarch froze the gray-haired elder's corpse into an ice cube. It floated in the air and was sucked into Su Fang's Dao Palace. an expert at the peak of the upper Tao Void realm, who also had a powerful defensive dark treasure, was killed by Su Fang so easily. The power of the cool saber sovereign was actually so overbearing. A gloomy red light flashed out from the void and immediately turned into a figure. This person exuded a cold and gloomy aura of death. He wore a long black robe and his face was covered by a black fog. Only 2 balls of ghostly fire could be seen burning in his eyes. The sect master of Nether Ghoul sect. The sect master of Nether Ghoul sect, who had been hiding in the dark, finally showed himself. I asked you to stop, but you still killed my sect's great elder. The flames in the sect master of Nether Ghoul sect's eyes flickered rapidly as he spoke gloomily. He wanted to kill me. Why should I stop just because you asked me to? You want to kill me, but I still have to obey your orders. Isn't your words extremely laughable? Su Fang laughed involuntarily. He was not afraid of the sect master of Nether Ghoul sect. It was his first time facing a Dao Saint expert, and it made him want to fight. You killed my subordinate. I will suppress you and use a supreme forbidden technique to refine the 6th Nether Ghoul body. Fury of the Nether Venerable. The sect master of Nether Ghoul sect said coldly. A black cloud surged out from under the black robe, instantly condensing into a huge pale human face that was 1,000 feet tall. It wore a black crown, and it looked at Su Fang with cold and dead eyes. Then, it opened its mouth and let out a fierce howl. It was as if the Nether Venerable was angry. The terrifying howl caused Su Fang's Dao heart to tremble. His origin soul also trembled and wanted to leave Su Fang's physical body. As expected from a Dao Saint expert, the rage of the underworld venerate was something that Su Fang couldn't handle with just one roar. If an ordinary Dao Void cultivator was hit by the howl, their Dao heart would instantly shatter and their soul would be shaken to death. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Su Fang's 7-colored Vajra Dao heart suddenly trembled. 7-colored light shrouded his Dao heart and stabilized his nearly collapsed will. The longevity lamp in the Dao Palace also suddenly lit up. A mysterious and eternal aura instantly dispersed the impact of the fury of the Nether Venerable. Although Su Fang's 7-colored Vajra Dao heart had not reached the level of immortality, it was incomparably tough. It made his will strong and unshakable. The longevity lamp was a primordial heavenly treasure. It made Su Fang's soul indestructible. How could the soul attack of the Nether Ghoul cult master shake it? The strength of a Dao Saint expert is indeed extraordinary. Let's see if your fury of the Nether Venerable or my heavenly Dao voice is more powerful. Su Fang's blood evil avatar flashed out of the Dao Palace. He took a step forward and punched towards the face of the Nether Venerable who was still howling. The heavenly Dao voice rumbled like a heavenly drum. The shocking slaughter will also burst out with a loud bang. The heavenly Dao voice hit the face of the Nether Venerable. After a violent tremor, the face shattered. At the same time, Su Fang's will of slaughter had also merged with the aura of slaughter from Slaughter's heart. Like a raging tide, it swept towards the Dark Ghoul cult master. Boom! The Nether Ghoul cult master's black robe fluttered. A black screen quickly formed in front of him and blocked the impact of Su Fang's slaughter will. Humph! The Nether Ghoul cult master was still hit by the slaughter will. His body trembled and he let out a cry of pain. The Nether Ghoul cult master was furious. A gust of gloomy and cold nether chi surged out of his black robe. In an instant, the aura shrouded the surroundings and turned into a nether realm. It enveloped Su Fang. My Master's Seal of 10 Directions. Su Fang used the My Master's Seal of 10 Directions. After a series of collisions, the 2 worlds collapsed at the same time. Good. A mere intermediate Dao Void Realm cultivator actually has the strength to fight with me. What will happen when you become a Dao Saint? Killing you can be considered as eliminating a big threat for the sacred clan. The Nether Ghoul cult master let out a sinister laugh. The black fog under his black robe tumbled. Then, one avatar after another charged out. There were a total of 5 avatars. They looked like 5 nether puppets. However, the color of their robes and auras were different. Kill! The 5 avatars let out murderous voices at the same time as they charged toward Su Fang. Su Fang released his celestial yellow avatar, primordial spirit avatar, celestial sun avatar, celestial path avatar, and blood fury avatar to fight against the 5 avatars of the Nether Ghoul cult master. With Su Fang's current strength, although he could not defeat the 5 avatars of the Nether Ghoul cult master, he would not be defeated in a short time. Su Fang, it is your honor to have me use the supreme Xian Bao that the sacred clan has given me. Go to hell. Nether Bone Heaven? The Nether Ghoul cult master waved his black robe. A gust of white Xian Guang rolled out and appeared in the sky above Su Fang in an instant. After the Xian Guang flashed rapidly, it quickly turned into white bones. There were human bones, demon bones, and alien bones. There were tens of millions of them. They floated in the air like a sea of bones. Boom, boom, boom. The white bones kept changing their positions. The sea of bones surged and turned into a huge cage of white bones, trapping Su Fang inside. The white bones continued to pile up, causing the white bone cage to become a terrifying tomb, burying Su Fang within. Did they see Su Fang disappear into the bones? Inside the ghost fire in the eyes of the sect master of Nether Ghoul cult burned fiercely. His old and pale face was revealed under the light of the ghost fire. This supreme Xian Bao of mine is a Peak King grade weapon. It was made from the bones of a powerful nether race expert that was as strong as the Daozu. It happens to be compatible with my great Dao. Su Fang, you are trapped in the shackles of my supreme Xian Bao. Why don't you obediently surrender? Kakik. The Nether Ghoul cult master laughed eerily. Bones? Inside white bone energy spread out and wantonly devoured Su Fang's life energy. Countless bone spears shot toward Su Fang like raindrop. This is the Nether Ghoul cult master's strongest move? It's just SOSO. Primordial heavenly wheel. Su Fang sneered disdainfully. A chaotic Xian Guang surged out of his body. It instantly condensed into a light wheel and spread out. Chi, chi, chi. The bone energy that devoured Su Fang's life energy quickly turned into nothingness in the primordial heavenly wheel. The bone spears also shattered in the collision and turned into ashes. Boom, boom. The light wheel attacked the bones? The barrier in V's internal space began to shatter layer by layer, and the dense white bones began to melt. However, this Xian Bao was really amazing. Even Su Fang's primordial energy could not break it. Did that mean it only consumed the bones? V had a lot of power. Break for me. Su Fang immediately activated the cool Saber Sovereign and tore a crack in the Dharma treasure space. Chi, 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 chi. The crack that the cool Saber Sovereign tore quickly healed. Heaven-devouring insect. Su Fang had no choice but to release the heaven-devouring insect. Then, the heaven-devouring insect opened its mouth and sucked him into its stomach. Fortunately, when he left the reincarnation realm, Su Fang knew that he would face the Nether Ghoul cult master, a Dao Saint expert. He was also afraid that the heaven-devouring insect would be discovered in the reincarnation realm. Hence, he specially summoned the heaven-devouring insect from underground and carried it with him. As expected, it did not disappoint Su Fang. The heaven-devouring insect pounced on the surrounding white bones. After a series of frenzied gnawing, a large hole was quickly bitten open. From the bones? V flashed out. Su Fang was spat out by the heaven-devouring insect and returned to his original appearance. Impossible. How is this possible? The Nether Ghoul cult master revealed an incredulous expression. Although he had just obtained this hellbone, V was not long ago. He could not completely fuse with it and could not activate the Xian Bao's full power. Chapter 3084. The sect master waved his hand, and countless white bones turned into Xian Guang and were sucked into his body. Sect master, what other tricks do you have? Why don't you use them all? Su Fang revealed a domineering smile. As he spoke, a vertical eye suddenly split open between his brows, and it surged with the illusory and mysterious glow of deduction from the workings of the heavens. Su Fang, I've underestimated you. I'll let you be proud for now, but when the sacred clan army arrives, I'll make you wish you were dead. The sect master said coldly. His figure flashed and appeared in the area where he was fighting with Su Fang's 5 avatars. He was about to withdraw his avatars and escape. Who knew, just as the sect master appeared, a white light flashed, and the wishful heavenly dipper wheel appeared above his head. It turned out that Su Fang had used the Eye of Future to predict where the sect master would appear, and he activated the wishful heavenly dipper wheel. Chi, chi, chi. The wishful heavenly dipper wheel erupted with a distorted divine power, catching the sect master off guard and then teleporting him in front of Su Fang. Chi, chi, chi. Su Fang activated the sky-piercing blood king vine and shot it out from his body, wanting to shackle the sect master and devour him. Puff! The sect master's black robe suddenly shattered, and his entire body turned into rolling black smoke. The wishful heavenly dipper wheel's power could not shackle him, and with a whoosh, he disappeared into the void. Whoosh! 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 The 5 avatars that were fighting with Su Fang also disappeared into the void. However, the avatar that was fighting with Su Fang's blood evil avatar was a step too late. As soon as it disappeared into the void, the blood evil avatar activated Slaughter's heart, and it burst out with the sound of the heavenly Tao and was forcibly shaken out of the void. Then, the blood evil avatar and Slaughter's heart burst out with a terrifying Slaughter will and power that surpassed the limits of the Tao void realm. It shattered the sect master's avatar, and the primordial spirit in the avatar was also obliterated by the Slaughter will. Whoosh! A cloud of black smoke rushed out of the void 100,000 miles away and condensed into the black-robed sect master. Then, the dark spirit cult master's avatars also flew out and were sucked into his black robe. Su Fang, you hurt me and killed one of my Dharma bodies. When I catch you, I will refine your body into the nether puppet Dharma body and torture your soul in the nether flame for eternity. The sect master of the Dark Spectre cult was a Tao saint, yet his Dharma body was killed by Su Fang, a cultivator at the intermediate Tao void stage. His true body was almost killed as well. How could he not be angry? However, even though he was furious, how could he dare to return to Su Fang to seek revenge? After leaving behind these threatening words filled with resentment, the Nether Gorilla sect's leader teleported away. The sect master of the Nether Ghoul cult actually managed to escape. Su Fang felt a pang of regret in his heart. However, he soon felt relieved. When one reached the level of a Tao saint and was about to reach the peak of the human race, it was easy to defeat them, but it was impossible to kill them. Which Tao saint expert didn't have powerful life-saving methods? It was normal for the sect master of the Nether Ghoul cult to escape this time. Moreover, Su Fang was only at the intermediate Tao void stage and almost killed a Tao saint. Such a battle record could be said to be shocking. It was enough to make Su Fang proud. Su Fang waved his hand and kept the Rui heavenly dipper wheel. The heaven-piercing blood king vine also retracted into his body. The Dharma bodies were sucked into the Tao palace, including the shattered Dharma body of the sect master of the Nether Ghoul cult. All of them were kept by Su Fang. This Dharma body contained a shocking amount of Nether Een energy. It was just right for Gue Gue to devour. If he met you in the future, he could also give it to you to cultivate and increase his strength quickly. At the same time, Su Fang also refined some of the broken pieces of the Dharma body into pure Nether Een energy and sent it into the Heavenly Path Dharma body for Huang Lingyao to cultivate. Huang Lingyao was still unable to transcend the low-level universe. She had been cultivating in the inner world of Su Fang's heavenly path Dharma body. In the Pan Song universe, Huang Lingyao obtained the inheritance of the Nether God clan and cultivated the Nether Dao. If these pure Nether Een energy were given to her to absorb and cultivate, it would definitely help her quickly transcend the low-level universe. The 6 paths of heaven colluded with the Nether Ghoul cult and tried to kill me. They would never have thought that the sect master of the Nether Ghoul cult would be defeated by me, right? Su Fang smiled coldly and teleported to the Azura realm. The Azura realm lord and many Azura realm cultivators were confronting the Nether Ghoul cult cultivators outside the barrier. Su Fang chased after the gray-haired old man of the Nether Ghoul cult and did not return for a long time. The Azura realm lord thought that Su Fang had died at this moment and was very proud. Who knew Su Fang returned safe and sound? This time, the Azura realm lord was surprised and shocked. Su Fang looked at the Azura realm lord indifferently and asked, looking at the realm lord's expression, "You seem to be very disappointed with my return." Su Fangda, please don't misunderstand. I have been worried about your safety. Seeing that you have returned safely, I am very happy. How can I be disappointed? The Azura realm lord hurriedly explained. Su Fang smiled embarrassedly and then grabbed the gray-haired old man's corpse that was cut in two by the cold saber emperor. That's the Great Elder's corpse. The Great Elder was killed by Su Fang. The hundreds of thousands of Nether Ghoul cult cultivators were in an uproar. They subconsciously retreated and looked at Su Fang with eyes full of horror and fear. The Azura realm lord and many other cultivators were also shocked and exclaimed. Then, Su Fang grabbed the Nether Ghoul cult master's broken body and shouted at the Nether Ghoul cult cultivators, "Your great elder has been killed by me, including your sect master, who almost died in my hands. I killed a Dharma body." Boom! Many cultivators were shocked again and let out a burst of exclamations like spring thunder. The Azura realm lord's body trembled, as if he had fallen into a bone-chilling ice cave. Su Fang looked at the Nether Ghoul cult cultivators and shouted, "The Nether Ghoul cult master secretly sided with the foreign race and betrayed the human race. Although you are evil cultivators, you are still part of the human race. Do you want to become slaves of the foreign race with him? I will let you go this time, but if I find out that you are willing to be slaves of the foreign race in the future, I will kill every one of you. I will never let you go." Cram! The Nether Ghoul cult cultivators all panicked and frantically scattered like a group of frightened beasts. The Nether Ghoul cult, which was once a famous evil force in the Western Profound Divine Domain, was defeated by Su Fang alone just like that. Most of the Nether Ghoul cult cultivators who were released by Su Fang were not willing to side with the foreign race and left the Nether Ghoul cult one after another. Su Fang coldly looked at the Azura realm lord and said, "Let's go, realm lord." The Azura realm lord's body trembled, as if he was completely seen through by Su Fang. After returning to the Azura realm, Su Fang and the higher-ups of the Azura realm passed through the Profound Gate and returned to the Reincarnation realm. Just as Su Fangda was fighting the Nether Ghoul cult master, the 6 Paths God's elder controlled by his destiny avatar passed through the Profound Gate and arrived at the outskirts of the Western Profound Mountain. When the elder entered the Profound Gate, he was stopped by the experts of the Western Profound Mountain guarding the gate. The elder said that he was ordered by Su Fang to go to the Western Profound Mountain to visit the Wine Sage. Everyone in the Western Profound Mountain knew that Su Fang was guarding the 6 Paths God. In addition, Su Fang's reputation in the Western Profound Mountain was like the sun at noon, so the experts guarding the Profound Gate did not dare to deliberately make things difficult for him and let the elder in. The 6 Paths God's elder entered the Western Profound Mountain but did not directly go to visit the sovereign. Instead, he went straight to the Wine Sage Peak. This was because Su Fang was being cautious. He was worried that there might be spies from the 6 Paths God or the other races hiding in the Western Profound Mountain. At the same time, he was also wary of the sentencing Grand Elder. Most of the Tao saints of the Western Profound Mountain went to guard the Western Profound Mountain, but the Wine Sage remained at the Wine Sage Peak because he was heavily injured. Hearing that Su Fang had sent someone to visit, the Wine Sage immediately came out of seclusion to treat his injuries. 15 minutes later, the Wine Sage left the Wine Sage Peak and came to the main peak with his heavy injuries. Not long after, the sentencing Grand Elder and another Grand Elder, who had been in seclusion for a long time, came to the main hall of the main peak. The Six Paths God colluded with the other races and tried to kill the experts of the Western Profound Mountain, and the other races will invade the Western Profound Mountain soon after? The two Grand Elders were extremely shocked when they heard the news from the Sovereign. The first Elder of Punishment asked, "Sovereign, why didn't the Punishment Hall find out anything about such an important piece of news?" The Sovereign said in a deep voice, "It was Su Fang who found out about the Six Paths God scheme and sent someone to report to the Western Profound Mountain." Su Fang. The sentencing Grand Elder sneered disdainfully. Even the sentencing hall didn't know about it, but Su Fang found out about such a shocking scheme the moment they arrived at the Six Paths God? In my opinion, Su Fang is lying about the military intelligence to claim credit. The Sovereign and the other Grand Elder were also confused. Su Fang definitely wouldn't do that. In my opinion, it's better to believe it than not. We should send experts to the Six Paths God to investigate. If this is true, the Western Profound Divine Region should prepare for war against the invasion of the other races. The person who spoke was another great elder. Due to the fact that he cultivated the way of the sword and had practically reached the pinnacle of the way of the sword, he was known as the Sword Sovereign. In terms of prestige, he was even more prestigious than the Punishment Great Elder. The reason why the Sword Sovereign spoke for Su Fang was because he had benefited from Su Fang. The Sovereign gave him the 3 Daozu's time puppets, which benefited him a lot. How could he not speak for Su Fang? The Sovereign nodded and said, "That's right." The Great Elder of Punishment pondered for a while and finally said, "Currently, in the Western Mystery Mountain, other than the heavily injured Wine Saint, there are no other Tao Saints we can send. Peak Master Ning Chui has just returned from her patrol in the southern region. Let's send her to the 6 heavens." The Sovereign made the final decision. "That's good. Su Fang has subdued a cultivator in the Six Paths God, and it's this person who came to the Western Profound Mountain to report. Let Peak Master Ning Chui accompany that cultivator to the Six Paths God and find out the truth. If it's really as he said, help Su Fang destroy the Six Paths God. The entire Western Profound Mountain must prepare for war." A few days later, Peak Master Ning Chui and the Old Man of the Six Paths God left the Western Profound Mountain and went straight to the northern domain through the Xian Gate. As soon as they came out of the Xian Gate, more than 20 cultivators of the Six Paths God guarding the gate came to investigate. A Tao Saint. The leading cultivator saw Peak Master Ning Cui's cultivation and immediately took out a rune talisman to send a message to the Six Paths God. Peak Master Ning Cui snorted coldly. She waved her hand and a green Xian Guang rolled up and wrapped around the cultivators of the Six Paths God. Puff puff puff, the cultivators of the Six Paths God instantly turned into corpses that fell to the ground like dead wood. This Peak Master Ning Cui is so ruthless. In the Tao Palace of the Old Man of the Six Paths God, Su Fang's Destiny Avatar saw this scene and was shocked by Peak Master Ning Cui's ruthlessness. Little did he know that in the next moment, Peak Master Ning Cui's will shrouded the Old Man of the Six Paths God and shackled him. The Old Man of the Six Paths God transmitted his Yuan spirit with a trembling voice. "My lord, what is the meaning of this soul-searching, memory-stripping, Six Paths God scheme, and Su Fang's intention? I naturally know everything. Why should I go to the Six Paths God?" Chapter 3085. You are a Tao Saint expert of the Western Black Mountain. How dare you betray the Western Black Mountain? The old man asked angrily and unwillingly. Betray the Western Black Mountain? Not now, but in the near future we will all go our separate ways. The human world is about to be destroyed and the Western Black Mountain is in danger. I just want to find a way out for myself. As for this time, I just want to borrow the hands of the Six Paths to get rid of Su Fang. The master of Ningxue Peak smiled indifferently. With a surge of her godly aura, she shattered the old man's body. Then, she waved her hand and grabbed the old man's soul from the shattered body. She was about to perform a soul-searching. Suddenly the master of Ningxue Peak sensed something. Her thought turned into a ray of green light and struck the void 10 zhang away like a thunderbolt. Seems like I was overthinking, the void shook, but nothing happened. The master of Ningxue Peak laughed and didn't think too much about it. After searching the old man's soul, Peak Master Ning Chui's eyes were filled with shock. I didn't expect the Six Paths to collude with the foreign races. They planned to kill the experts of the Western Black Mountain in preparation for the invasion of the Western Black Divine Realm. Fortunately, I didn't enter the Six Paths. I also didn't expect Su Fang to know so much about the Six Paths scheme. After thinking for a while, the master of Ningxue Peak mumbled to herself, "Seems like the Western Black Mountain is not a place to stay for long. It's time to make plans. As for Su Fang, I'll let him die in the Six Paths. It'll be an explanation to the Hu people." Before she finished her sentence, the master of Ningxue Peak stepped into the Xian Gate and disappeared without a trace. 6 hours later, Su Fang's heavenly mandate avatar slowly appeared from the void. The master of Ningxue Peak is a spy hired by the Hu people. Su Fang's heavenly mandate avatar was surprised and shocked. Fortunately, the heavenly mandate avatar was ethereal and blended into the void. Even the master of Ningxue Peak, a Tao saint, didn't notice it and saw the master of Ningxue Peak's true face. Otherwise, with the strength of Su Fang's destiny avatar, he would not be a match for Ningxue Peak master. Fortunately, Su Fang was careful enough to not let the Tianming Dharma body appear. Otherwise, even if the Tianming Dharma body was not obliterated, it would have been severely injured. It can't be so coincidental that the Western Mystery Mountain would send Peak Lord Ning Chui to the 6 Tao Heavens. Punishment Grand Elder. The Great Elder of the Punishment Department must be colluding with Hu people in secret to kill me. Su Fang suddenly understood. How can a mere 6 Tao Tian do anything to Su Fang? Great Elder Xing Fa, Peak Master Ning Chui, you plotted against me. This time, I will make you pay the price. Su Fang's destiny Dharma body was about to pass through the Xian Gate and return to the Xishuan Mountain. However, the other end of the Xian Gate was sealed, which meant that they couldn't travel through the Xian Gate from the 6 Paths Heavens to the Xixian Mountain. After I deal with the 6 Paths Heavens, I will return to the Xixian Mountain to settle the score with the Great Elder of the Punishment Department and Peak Master Ning Chui. Although the Xian Gate was sealed, Su Fang had nothing to worry about. After dealing with the 6 Paths Heavens, he could cross the chaos in the domain and return to the Xixian Mountain. At most, it would take him a few thousand years. After making up his mind, Su Fang's destiny Dharma body flew back to the reincarnation realm. Su Fang's original body returned to the reincarnation realm after defeating the Dark Cunning sect. He continued to release the heavenly devourer insects to search for the array cores of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation Grand Array. The reincarnated Divine Lord was not the 6 Paths Heaven's biggest trump card. After all, he was just a newly ascended divine saint. Su Fang was not afraid of him. As long as the 6 Paths of Reincarnation Grand Array was destroyed, the 6 Paths Heavens would no longer have the means and strength to deal with Su Fang. At that time, the 6 Paths Heavens would be in trouble. When the Destiny Dharma body returned, Su Fang also understood the intentions of Xing Fa Grand Elder and Ningxue Peak Master. Xing Fa Grand Elder, Ningxue Peak Master. Master went into seclusion this time, and these monsters all jumped out. Su Fang sneered and focused on destroying the 6 paths of reincarnation grand array in the reincarnation realm. When he returned to the Xixian Mountain, he would teach Xing Fa Grand Elder and Ningxue Peak Master a lesson. Not long after, Divine Lord Luanzhuan also returned to the reincarnation realm from the Wraith realm. After returning to the reincarnation realm, Divine Lord Luanzhuan immediately summoned the 6 realm lords for a secret meeting. Su Fang sensed Divine Lord Luanzhuan's aura and released his destiny Dharma body again. He quietly snuck into the independent space where the higher-ups of the 6 paths heavens were discussing. Unexpectedly, this time, Divine Lord Luanzhuan suffered a great loss when he went to deal with the Heavenly Coffin Bandit. With Divine Lord Luanzhuan's strength, apart from the leader of the Heavenly Coffin Bandits, no one was his match. However, the Heavenly Coffin young master had the luck spider, and his growth in the past few years was truly shocking. When Divine Lord Luanzhuan fought with him, not only was his luck greatly devoured, but he was also tainted with a lot of bad luck. He had no choice but to retreat from the evil ghost realm. I didn't expect the luck spider to grow to such a shocking level in the hands of the Heavenly Coffin young master. Su Fang's destiny Dharma body was also shocked when he heard this. When Divine Lord Luanzhuan heard that Su Fang killed the Dark Spirit Cult Master's Dharma body and forced him to flee, he was shocked and surprised. Su Fang, an intermediate void stage cultivator, was able to kill a Dao Saint and force him to flee. On the other hand, Divine Lord Luanzhuan, a Dao Saint expert, was defeated by the Heavenly Coffin young master. Such a huge contrast shocked Divine Lord Luanzhuan and made him want to kill Su Fang even more. The sacred clan sent an envoy to the realm of reincarnation not long ago. The sacred clan's army is ready to attack the Western Mystic Divine realm at any time. They urged the 6 paths heaven to attack as soon as possible and deplete the Western Mystic Mountain's strength. Now, not only did they fail to complete their plan, but they also injured the Dark Spirit Cult Master. The Dark Spirit Cult is almost dead in name now. How are we going to explain this to the Sacred Clan? They originally wanted to use Su Fang as bait. Who knew that this bait would be so powerful that it completely exceeded the expectations of the 6 paths heavens higher-up? It was as if the bait was going to devour the fishermen. How could the higher-ups of the 6 paths heaven not be annoyed? We can only use the 6 paths of reincarnation grand formation to kill Su Fang and then ask for help from the Western Mystic Mountain. Azura Realm Lord said murderously. He had witnessed Su Fang's strength and was extremely afraid of Su Fang. He couldn't wait to kill Su Fang immediately. Divine Lord Luanzhuan shook his head and said, once the 6 paths of reincarnation grand formation is activated, the Western Mystic Mountain may be aware of what is happening in the 6 paths heaven. Suddenly, the Hell Realm Lord's brows furrowed as he waved his hand and a rune talisman appeared. An anxious voice came from the rune talisman. Realm Lord, the Heavenly Coffin Bandits have breached the Hell Realm. Young Master Heavenly Coffin is wantonly plundering the fate of the Hell Realm's mystical worlds. Divine Lord Luanzhuan was furious. Young Master Heavenly Coffin dares to act so recklessly? You are courting death. The voice continued. Young Master Heavenly Coffin has also announced that he wants to fight Su Fang. If Su Fang doesn't come out, he will plunder all the fate of the mystical worlds in the 6 paths heaven. Su Fang's destiny avatar was shocked and shocked. Young Master Heavenly Coffin has the guts to challenge me in public? I know. The Hell Realm Lord kept the rune talisman. Since young Master Heavenly Coffin is so arrogant and took the initiative to challenge Su Fang, why not let Su Fang fight with him? No matter who wins, it will be beneficial to the 6 paths heaven. That's right, what a brilliant plan. It would be best if Su Fang dies in the hands of young Master Heavenly Coffin. That way, we will have an excuse to ask for help from the Western Mystic Mountain. The other realm lords discussed among themselves. Divine Lord Luanzhuan pondered for a moment and finally said, "It's decided then. I will go and see Su Fang now." blissful palace. Su Fang had just sensed that the heavenly devourer insects had found the sixth stone pillar in the depths of the realm of reincarnation and had quietly destroyed it. He was relieved and recalled the insects. Then, his destiny avatar returned and entered the Tao Palace. Su Fang learned about the secret meeting between the Six Paths Heaven's higher-ups and was worried about the Western Mystic Divine Realm's situation. It was then that Divine Lord Luanzhuan came to visit. "You want me to deal with young Master Heavenly Coffin?" Su Fang showed a troubled expression when he heard Divine Lord Luanzhuan's intention. Then, he shook his head decisively and said, "I just fought the Dark Spectre Religious Master. Although I was lucky enough to win with a supreme forbidden technique, I've consumed a lot of energy. I probably won't be able to fight again for the next 100,000 years." Divine Lord Luanzhuan gritted his teeth and took out a storage ring with a wave of his hand and handed it to Su Fang. There were 3 king-grade pills in the storage ring. Su Fang was pleasantly surprised. Su Fang had obtained 10 king-grade pills from Divine Sovereign Xie in the Ice Mystic Divine Realm. Then, he got a few more from Yin Patian. He had almost used up all of them by now. Now that he had 3 more, it was no different from sending charcoal in the snow. Moreover, Su Fang wanted to find young Master Heavenly Coffin and take back the Weaver Spider. Even if Divine Lord Luanzhuan didn't show up, Su Fang would still take the initiative to do it. Su Fang's energy consumption wasn't that bad, so he immediately left the blissful palace with Divine Lord Luanzhuan. This time, Su Fang went through the Mystic Gate alone and headed straight for the Infernal Court. When he arrived in the air above the Infernal Court, Su Fang projected a reaction force. The Infernal Court had fallen into chaos at this time. The Heavenly Coffin bandits were looting and killing people in the cities. The entire Infernal Court had become a veritable hell. "Young Master Heavenly Coffin, get out here and fight me!" Su Fang used his divine power to send his voice into the Infernal Court. In less than half an hour, a figure appeared through the barrier. It was young Master Heavenly Coffin. "Su Fang, you really came." Seeing Su Fang, young Master Heavenly Coffin's eyes showed a hint of fear. The young Master of the Heavenly Coffin sect immediately calmed down when he thought of the spider. His fear turned into joy as he asked, "Su Fang, do you still have the treasures you obtained from the Chaos Tide?" Su Fang smiled and nodded. "All the time mirages are in my head. All the treasures, except for the Supreme Xian Bao, are with me." The Heavenly Coffin young Master said regretfully, "To think that the supreme profound treasure is not with you, it is truly a pity. However, with so many powerful mirages and treasures, it was not in vain for this young Master to spend so much effort to lure you here." Su Fang couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 3086. "All my treasures are here, but I don't know if you have the ability to take them away." Su Fang stared at the young Master Celestial Coffin, his eyes full of disdain. "In addition to your treasures, I also want your head." The young Master Celestial Coffin shouted coldly and opened his mouth to spit out a blood-red breath. The blood-red breath contained 10,000 thoughts of the young Master Celestial Coffin, and quickly condensed into a blood coffin. The coffin hung upside down and erupted with a devouring power, about to suck Su Fang into it. "Take out the spider, your petty tricks can't do anything to me, Su Fang." Su Fang activated the Blood Fury spell body, and used the shapeless heavenly wheel. A heavenly wheel of massacre rolled out and crushed the blood coffin. The remaining power of the heavenly wheel of massacre did not diminish and continued to roll toward the young Master Celestial Coffin. Swoosh! 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 6 streaks of blood-red light flashed out from the young Master Celestial Coffin's forehead and turned into 6 blood coffins, erupting with different sealing powers at the same time. The heavenly wheel of massacre was sealed by the power released from one of the coffins and quickly shattered. The other 5 coffins released powerful divine powers such as Tao sealing, life sealing, and soul sealing. In an instant, shadows of blood coffins condensed around Su Fang's Tao Palace, Tao Heart, and physical body, sealing Su Fang's entire being. I've said it before. These petty tricks can't do anything to me, Su Fang. Using them would only be a disgrace. Su Fang looked at the young master celestial coffin with eyes full of mockery. The Tao heart of the seven-colored Vajra trembled, and the primordial qi in his Tao palace swept out from his body and instantly shattered the various seals of the young master celestial coffin. The young master celestial coffin realized that Su Fang was 10 times more terrifying than when he was fighting for treasures in the Chaos Tide. When he first met Su Fang was still a weakling at his mercy. The second time they fought in the Chaos Tide, Su Fang was already able to defeat him, but he was still unable to crush him. After tens of thousands of years, Su Fang easily dispelled the young master's strongest attack. The young master felt like he was facing a powerful Tao saint. The heavenly coffin young master's heart was in turmoil. The confidence he had gained from defeating Sacred Lord Luanzhuan started to waver. However, at the thought of the spider, the young lord immediately became spirited and released the spider from his Tao palace. My weaver spider has grown to such an astonishing level? Su Fang sensed the weaver spider's aura, and his eyes immediately lit up. The heavenly coffin young lord proudly said, "This is my luck spider, not yours. Not only yours, but all of your treasures and life will belong to me." Then, he transmitted his thoughts to the spider. The spider looked at Su Fang, his eyes filled with doubt. "Spider luck, hurry up and kill him." Young Master Celestial Coffin shouted angrily at the spider. "Chi! Chi!" The spider opened its mouth and spat out a white mist. In an instant, as the white mist rolled, an ominous power filled with calamity and misfortune shrouded Su Fang, rapidly devouring Su Fang's fortune. There was also a power that caused life to wither and die of illness. Su Fang's life aura started to wither. This scene made the heavenly coffin young master very proud. He shouted at Su Fang domineeringly, "Su Fang, I wonder how you will feel if you die to your weaver spider?" Su Fang's face was full of mockery. "Young Master Celestial Coffin, if you know that everything you have done has been taken advantage of by me, Su Fang, I wonder how you will feel?" The heavenly coffin young master sneered disdainfully. "You are still so stubborn when you are about to die. Young Master Celestial Coffin, I have to thank you. Thank you for nurturing my weaver spider for so many years and saving me so much effort. In order to express my gratitude, I will let the weaver spider suck your fortune dry and let you experience the feeling of not being able to escape from your doom." Su Fang looked at the weaver spider. With a thought, the restriction planted in the weaver spider's fate was instantly activated. The weaver spider's void fate was immediately controlled by Su Fang. Then Su Fang's thought appeared in the weaver spider's mind. "Weaver spider, you dare to betray your master?" The weaver spider trembled. The shackles of fate made it unable to resist. It had to submit to fate. "Master! Go, suck the heavenly coffin young master's fortune dry." "Yes, master." The weaver spider suddenly turned around and spat out threads of void silk. They intertwined into a large net and shackled the heavenly coffin young master. Hiss! The heavenly coffin young master felt his fortune rapidly draining away. The smug and sinister smile on his face froze in an instant. His eyes were filled with disbelief. "Weaver spider, you dare to betray me?" The heavenly coffin young master's Dharma body was indeed extraordinary. There were a total of 6 blood coffins, which meant 6 Dharma bodies. Each blood coffin had a different ability. One of the blood coffins had the ability to seal fortune. It was this blood coffin that had captured the weaver spider. He had used the sealing power of the blood coffin to plant a seal in the weaver spider's body. He had thought that he would be able to control the weaver spider from then on. Who knew that the weaver spider would suddenly turn on him? How could he not be surprised and shocked? He hurriedly activated the seal on the weaver spider. The blood light in the weaver spider's body surged and turned into a blood coffin. It was about to seal the weaver spider's power and consciousness. At this moment, Su Fang's figure flashed and teleported in front of the heavenly coffin young master in a flash. The sound of the heavenly way and a tidal wave of murderous aura erupted and struck the heavenly coffin young master. The heavenly coffin young master's body was shattered and he was sent flying hundreds of miles away. He was severely injured. Su Fang calmly sucked the weaver spider into his Tao palace. He was grinning from ear to ear. The weaver spider had been recovered. Moreover, the heavenly coffin young master had nurtured it to such an astonishing level. Even ordinary Tao saints had to flee at the sight of it. Su Fang was naturally very happy. In order to thank the heavenly coffin young master, Su Fang decided to kill him. Little did he know that the heavenly coffin young master, who was already severely injured, had undergone a shocking transformation. Crack, crack, crack. The heavenly coffin young master's already shattered body suddenly broke apart like a fragile object. 6 blood coffins were revealed. Then the 6 coffins quickly overlapped and fused together to form a blood coffin. It emitted an evil aura of death. Whoosh! The lid of the coffin suddenly slid open. A putrid corpse aura shot into the sky. Then, a monster with inch-long silver corpse hair floated out of the coffin. The monster looked no different from a corpse. There was no sense of life in it. It was a refined corpse monster. Moreover, the refined corpse's aura was extremely frightening. Although it had not reached the level of a Tao saint, it was already at the limit of the Tao void realm. The heavenly coffin young master is actually a refined corpse? Su Fang was shocked and stunned. He could not imagine that the heavenly coffin young master was not a living being. Instead, he was a puppet possessed by a refined corpse. The refined corpse monster that the heavenly coffin young master had transformed into bared its teeth at Su Fang. It opened its mouth and spat out a green poisonous smoke. The smoke rolled toward Su Fang. Then, the refined corpse flashed into the coffin. The lid of the coffin quickly closed. It was about to escape into the void. Su Fang was determined to kill the heavenly coffin young master. How could he let him escape so easily? Buzz! The white Xian Guang flashed. The Rui heavenly dipper wheel whizzed out and appeared above the blood coffin. It released the power of spatial distortion to shackle the coffin. Then, with a flash of white light, the blood coffin was teleported to Su Fang's side. Then, Su Fang released the heaven-piercing blood king vines and tightly bound the blood coffin. Su Fang released Gui Gui and sucked in the poisonous smoke that the refined corpse spat out. The extremely poisonous smoke was a great tonic for Gui Gui. After swallowing the poison, Gui Gui licked its lips, as if it was still unsatisfied. The blood coffin trembled violently. Corpse chi and poisonous smoke constantly poured out. It wanted to break free from the heaven-piercing blood king vines. The blood vines were corroded and broken one by one. However, there was one blood vine that was extremely tough. It firmly bound the blood coffin. The poison and vibration force could not shake it at all. That blood vine was the silk spat out by the heaven-swallowing insect. It was almost as tough as the primal chaos god lock chain. How could the heavenly coffin young master break free? However, the blood coffin was indeed extraordinary. Even with the penetrating ability of the heaven-piercing blood king vines, it could not penetrate into the coffin. Heaven-swallowing insect. Su Fang released the heaven-swallowing insect without hesitation. Rustle, rustle. Under the crazy gnawing of the heaven-swallowing insect, a hole was quickly bitten out of the blood coffin. The devouring ability of the heaven-swallowing insect was too shocking. Until now, Su Fang had not found anything that the heaven-swallowing insect could not eat. Chi, 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 chi. The refined corpse roared like a ghost. It was about to be killed by Su Fang. Whoosh! An aura surged out of the blood coffin. This aura was extremely powerful. It surpassed the limit of the Tao void realm. It even surpassed ordinary Tao saints like the dark spirit religion master. A figure quickly condensed and formed. It was an old man in a gray robe. It was a Dao Saint expert, Sky Coffin Dao Saint. Of course, it was not Sky Coffin Dao Saint's true body. It was a manifestation of his consciousness. You dare to kill my son? Die. The Sky Coffin Dao Saint's phantom suddenly opened its eyes, a terrifying bloody light shooting out from its pupils. The bloody light flashed out of his eyes. It immediately turned into a blood coffin and suppressed Su Fang. If your true body came, I would have to turn around and leave. You are just a mere consciousness. How dare you be so arrogant? Su Fang shouted domineeringly. The blood demon Dharma body flashed out and punched the blood coffin. Dong! Boom! The blood coffin was shattered by Su Fang's punch. The power of Su Fang's punch was also exhausted. Whoosh! Sky Coffin Dao Saint reached out and grabbed at the air. A thought turned into a withered broken palm and grabbed at Su Fang. Hong Meng Wheel! Su Fang stretched out a finger and pointed at the eerie broken palm. A chaotic light bloomed and quickly spread out. It turned into a wheel of light and collided with the broken palm. Puff! The wheel of light shattered. The broken palm turned into ashes and scattered. Life-severing blade, shatter fate. Su Fang did not hesitate to use the Heaven's secret life shrinking technique. Chapter 3087. Destiny Platform's Remarkable Power? Boy, you dare to kill my son, I will take your life. The Sky Coffin leader was shocked at first, and then threatened Su Fang angrily. So what if I kill him? Su Fang sneered. Wherever the life executioner went, the Sky Coffin leader's shadow quickly burned and shattered layer by layer, and was finally cut clean. Erasing the consciousness of the Sky Coffin leader cost Su Fang nearly 1/10 of his lifespan. His face was pale, and his forehead was full of sweat. His aura was also a little weak, and he looked like he was in his 20s. However, it was still within the range that he could bear. The Sky Coffin leader was not an ordinary divine saint powerhouse, and the consciousness that protected the Sky Coffin young master was extremely powerful. Su Fang had to consume some of his lifespan to quickly get rid of the Sky Coffin leader's consciousness. Then, Su Fang activated a Xianyang flame and poured it into the coffin to burn wildly. At first, the Sky Coffin young master was still howling in pain, but in the end, he was completely silent and couldn't be more dead. Hey, that blood coffin is an extraordinary treasure. Su Fang looked at the blood coffin with a look of surprise. Except for the hole that was bitten by the Sky Devourer insect, the other parts of the blood coffin were intact after being burned by the Xianyang flame. Even the heaven-piercing Blood King vine could not penetrate it, and he didn't know what material it was made of to be so tough. Su Fang sucked the blood coffin into the Dao Palace and sealed it, and then took out the Fuyao cave abode. After entering the cave abode, the giant Kuanping flapped its wings and stirred up a monstrous spatial storm, and then shuttled through the spatial storm. 2 hours later, a gray figure with a murderous aura broke out of the void, and it was the Sky Coffin leader himself. A sharp cold light flashed in the Sky Coffin leader's eyes, and he swept the place where Su Fang killed the Sky Coffin young master. No matter who you are, you dared to kill my son, and I will tear you into pieces. The Sky Coffin leader let out a murderous roar, and then went straight to the Infernal Court. The Infernal Court was unlucky, and they became the target of the Sky Coffin leader's anger, and were all killed by the Sky Coffin leader, along with the Lord of the Infernal Court. Fu Fuyao Cavern flew out of the void, and Su Fang flew out of the cavern, taking it into the Holy Ji Palace. He released Ling Xiaozi and the other cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain from the Dao Palace. Ling Xiao, take everyone back to the Western Black Mountain and report the situation of the 6 Paths Heavens to the Sovereign. Remember, don't let Elder Xing Fa and Peak Master Ning Chui know about this. Otherwise, you will be killed. Su Fang transmitted the voice of his primordial spirit to Ling Xiaozi. Then, he condensed the images of the foreign races invading the Western Profound Divine Realm and the scene of Ningxue Peak Master killing the old man of the 6 Paths God Realm into a jade slip and passed it to Ling Xiaozi. Martial Uncle Su Fang, Where are you going? From Su Fang's expression, Ling Xiaozi also realized the severity of the situation and asked Su Fang worriedly. I'll continue to stay in the Six Paths Heavens and act according to the circumstances. The cultivators of the Six Paths Heavens can't do anything to me. Su Fang smiled casually. Even if the foreign race army really came, he would be able to escape safely as long as no Daozu powerhouse came personally, let alone the rebels of the Six Paths Heavens. Then, he reminded, the profound gate from the Six Paths Heavens to the Western Mystery Mountain has been sealed. You will have to pass through other profound realms to reach the Western Mystery Mountain. Be careful. Martial uncle, take care. Ling Xiaozi and the other cultivators of the Western Mystery Mountain cupped their fists and bowed to Su Fang before taking their leave. Su Fang took out the profound positioning disc. After confirming the direction, he activated Fuyao Cavern and flew toward the realm of reincarnation. Back in the realm of reincarnation, Su Fang learned that not long after he left, the leader of the celestial coffins had personally killed his way to the infernal realm and massacred the infernal realm. Even the lord of the infernal realm had been killed. Hearing this news, Su Fang couldn't help but laugh. He was extremely happy. If I can lure the leader of the celestial coffins into the realm of reincarnation and let him and the Six Paths Heavenly Dog fight each other, that would be great. After entering the Palace of Bliss, Su Fang quietly waited for the situation to change. It wouldn't be long before the leader of the celestial coffins would come here. At that time, he might be able to take advantage of it. Su Fang entered the depths of the palace's formation space and came to the canyon. He then condensed a thought and entered the Dao Palace. The blood coffin was really strange. Su Fang wanted to carefully study it. After a careful examination, Su Fang realized that the blood coffin was extraordinary. The blood coffin was not some xian bao, but a rare treasure formed naturally after countless years of precipitation. Coupled with the cultivation of the celestial coffin's young master, it became so hard that it was even harder than a king-grade xian bao. The blood coffin was not just hard. There were vast formations and restrictions in the space inside the blood coffin. Some were formed naturally while others were created. Through these formations and restrictions, Su Fang discovered some of the blood coffin's abilities. It was the various sealing powers that the 6 blood coffins of the young master of the celestial coffins cast. The young master of the celestial coffins had cultivated the blood coffin into 6 dharmakayas. Such a strange technique was an eye-opener for Su Fang. If I use this blood coffin as a celestial source and refine it into a dharmakaya, I will have 6 sealing abilities: sealing fate, sealing soul, sealing path, and sealing luck. It's a pity that this blood coffin is broken, and it's not tall enough. Su Fang originally planned to refine the blood coffin into a dharmakaya, but after careful consideration, he finally gave up on this idea. Under the Taoist master realm, it was the best time to refine a dharmakaya. Beyond the Taoist master realm, not only did it require a higher level of celestial source, but it was also more difficult to refine. Su Fang had the Jiuxuan Taoist Palace and could refine 9 dharmakayas. With such amazing talent and ability, coupled with his current realm, it was difficult to refine a dharmakaya without a higher level of celestial source. Su Fang now had 6 dharmakayas: Xianyang, Xianwang, Tianming, Tiandao, Ziyun, and Primordial Spirit. There was also the longevity dharmakaya that had not been completely refined. He had a total of 7 dharmakayas. The blood evil dharmakaya was not among the 9 dharmakayas. He still needed 2 dharmakayas to complete the 9 dharmakayas. The ability of the blood coffin was really good, but unfortunately, it was not enough for Su Fang's requirements. With the longevity lamp as a celestial source dharmakaya, Su Fang no longer cared about ordinary celestial sources. Su Fang had no use for the blood coffin now. Even if it was refined into a xian bao, although its ability was unique, it was still at the level of Dao Void. Naturally, Su Fang did not care about it. Then, Su Fang began to use the heavenly divination unraveling and the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to predict the future of the Western Xian divine region. In the end, Su Fang saw a blood-red light shrouding the Western Xian mountain. It was a sign that a great disaster was about to befall the Western Xian divine region. Su Fang wanted to deduce more details of the heavenly secret. However, with his current cultivation and the fact that he was trying to deduce the future of the divine region, it was difficult for him to deduce more details. The future of the Western Xian divine region is worrying, Su Fang sighed heavily. Then, he continued to deduce the 6 paths heaven, hoping to deduce the exact time when the foreign races would enter the 6 paths heaven. Unexpectedly buzz. Su Fang had just activated the heavenly secret life shrinking technique when a domineering and ethereal sensing power swept through the blissful palace and locked onto Su Fang. The Tao runes flickered rapidly and finally turned into an illusory figure. It was the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect. I didn't expect the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect to come to the 6 paths heaven so soon. It seems that I killed his son and completely infuriated him. Since you're here, I'll make sure you don't return. Su Fang revealed a domineering smile. Boom. The outer boundary of the realm of reincarnation trembled violently. The entire realm of reincarnation was shaken. The leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect was so arrogant that he directly attacked the realm of reincarnation. Boom. Under the fierce attacks of the claws, the powerful boundary of the realm of reincarnation was torn open. The leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect flashed and entered. Whoosh. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan led many experts of the 6 paths heaven out of the realm of reincarnation and blocked the path of the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect. Senior Heavenly Coffin, why are you attacking the realm of reincarnation? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan asked through gritted teeth as he cupped his fists at the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect. He was obviously afraid of the leader's strength. Although he was furious, he had to be polite on the surface. The 6 paths heaven killed my son, and you're asking me what I'm doing? The leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect glared at Sacred Lord Luanzhuan with cold eyes and shouted eerily. In order to avenge the young master of the Heavenly Coffin sect, Senior, you've already destroyed the infernal court. The one who killed the young master was not a cultivator of the 6 paths heaven, but someone else. Senior, aren't you looking for the wrong target to seek revenge from the 6 paths heaven? Someone else. That's right. The one who killed the young master of the Heavenly Coffin sect was Su Fang from the Western Mystery Mountain, not a cultivator of the 6 paths heaven. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan betrayed Su Fang without hesitation. He wanted to let Su Fang and the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect to fight each other so that the 6 paths heaven could reap the benefit. The leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect shouted domineeringly, Su Fang? I've heard of this person's name before. I just sensed that he's in the world of reincarnation right now. Hand him over immediately. Otherwise, I'll destroy the 6 paths heaven today. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan hurriedly sent a voice transmission to Su Fang, but it was like throwing a stone into the sea. Then, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan tried to sense Su Fang's aura, but there was no trace of Su Fang's destiny aura in the blissful palace. It was as if he had evaporated from the world of reincarnation. The leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect could not sense Su Fang's aura either. Instantly, his killing intent became fierce. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan, do you think you can look down on me just because you've become a Tao saint? Today, I'll let you know that you're still as weak as an ant in front of me even though you've just become a Tao saint. Die. A gloomy and cold will of death instantly shrouded the entire world of reincarnation. It was as if the world of reincarnation had fallen into a huge and cold coffin. Puff. Leader Tian Coffin's thoughts turned into claw imprints and killed more than 20 Tao Void Realm higher echelons of 6 paths sky. Among them were 3 realm lords, 2 were killed and 1 was severely injured. Sacred Lord Luanjuan was barely able to fend off more than a dozen claw attacks. He spat out a mouthful of blood from the impact. In front of a powerful Tao saint-like leader Tian Coffin, he was unable to withstand a single blow. Leader Sky Coffin, don't go too far. Sacred Lord Luanjuan gritted his teeth. So what if I bully you? Since you are not willing to hand over Su Fang, I will wipe out the entire Six Paths Heavens along with you. Chapter 3088. The dogs are finally biting each other. Seeing Coffin Leader attacking the Six Paths sex cultivators, Su Fang was overjoyed. It turned out that when Coffin Leader arrived at the world of reincarnation and sensed Su Fang's presence, Su Fang had quickly released the Heaven Devourer insect, which then swallowed it into its stomach. The Heaven Devourer insect quickly drilled into the deepest part of the world of reincarnation, directly drilling into a stone pillar that acted as the eye of the formation. Just how powerful was the Heaven Devourer insect? Even with Coffin Leader's strength, it was difficult for him to sense the Heaven Devourer insect's presence, not to mention that Su Fang had used the Tianji life shrinking technique to conceal his presence. Just as Coffin Leader was venting his anger on the Six Paths sex cultivators, Su Fang was watching the show from the bottom of the world of reincarnation. How could Su Fang not be happy to see the two sides biting each other? Boom! Coffin Leader's thoughts turned into a claw that descended from the sky above the blissful palace, blasting the blissful palace and the mountain it was on into dust. That Su Fang still hasn't come out? Coffin Leader originally thought that even if this attack couldn't heavily injure Su Fang, it could at least force Su Fang out of the blissful palace. Who knew that Su Fang was still nowhere to be seen, which surprised Coffin Leader. Let's see if you can come out after I destroy the world of reincarnation. Coffin Leader shouted with killing intent and began to show off his might in the world of reincarnation. His strength was truly shocking. His divine aura covered the entire world of reincarnation. His thoughts turned into claw after claw, destroying mountain after mountain, palace after palace, and the entire world of reincarnation was soon reduced to ruins. Under Coffin Leader's divine aura, the Six Paths sex cultivators died one after another. Those who could live in the world of reincarnation were the true elites of the Six Paths sect. Now that they were being slaughtered by Coffin Leader, the Six Paths sect suffered a great loss. Coffin Dao Saint, Su Fang, you are the ones who forced me to do this. Sacred Lord Luanjuan saw that the situation was not good and had already escaped to the outside of the world of reincarnation's barrier. The other cultivators from the celestial path of Six Paths also fled. However, not even 1 out of 10 managed to escape. Sacred Lord Luanjuan looked at the 100/6 Tao Heavens cultivators around him. Out of the 6 world lords, only 1 was left. In the air, Sacred Lord Luanjuan saw that the realm of reincarnation, which he had managed for many years, was almost destroyed in the hands of Leader Heavenly Coffin. Sacred Lord Luanjuan felt as if a knife was piercing his heart. He gnashed his teeth at Leader Heavenly Coffin and Su Fang. Sacred Lord Luanjuan hated Su Fang even more than Leader Tian Coffin. Why? If Su Fang hadn't killed the Heavenly Coffin young master, how could he have angered the Heavenly Coffin Leader? And Su Fang was the culprit. He killed the young master of Heavenly Coffin and lured the leader of Heavenly Coffin here. However, he was nowhere to be seen, causing the Six Paths Heavens to suffer such heavy losses. How could Saint Lord Luanjuan not hate him? Saint Lord Luanjuan felt that Su Fang was a jinx. Ever since he came to the Six Paths sky, the Six Paths sky had been plagued with bad luck. Right now, Sacred Lord Luanjuan was filled with regret. If he had known earlier, why would he have asked for help from the Western Black Mountain? In the end, he sent such a jinx, causing the Six Paths sky to be on the verge of destruction. Now that things had come to this, Sacred Lord Luanjuan couldn't care less. He took out the Six Paths sky's final trump card and activated the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array. Boom boom boom. The world of reincarnation's spiritual chi and world energy started to circulate wildly, quickly forming a huge whirlpool. Not only the reincarnation world, but the entire Six Paths Heaven's six-directional mystical world's power was also activated, forming a Six Paths reincarnation array formation. The endless power of reincarnation surged towards the reincarnation world. Six terrifying energies surrounded the world of reincarnation. Like a huge millstone, it wanted to grind the heavens and earth into pieces, causing all life to be trapped in the Six Paths reincarnation and fate. The Six Paths sex cultivators who couldn't escape the world of reincarnation in time were all trapped in the array. Screams of agony sounded one after another as the Six Paths sex cultivators died under the power of the array. The Six Paths sex cultivators who were lucky enough to escape were all frightened. They didn't expect Sacred Lord Luanzhuan to be so ruthless, not caring about the lives of her subordinates. The Six Paths sky has such a terrifying array? Coffin Leader felt the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's terrifying power and was shocked. He was confident in his strength and came to avenge young Master Coffin. He didn't expect the Six Paths sky, which he didn't take seriously at all, to have such a powerful array. Coffin Leader immediately calmed down and tried to break out of the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's shackles. However, the Six Paths reincarnation grand array of the Six Paths reincarnation grand array gathered the power of the Six Paths reincarnation grand Tao. Let alone Coffin Leader, even the half-step Daozu like Xian Zheng and the Western Mystery Mountain's first Elder of Punishment couldn't escape from the array's shackles. Boom boom boom. The Six Paths reincarnation grand array's power swept over Coffin Leader like waves. Even a powerful Tao saint like him could only go up and down with the wave. An astonishing willpower and pressure surged out from all directions. Coffin Leader's body was shackled, and his defenses began to shatter layer by layer. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Coffin Leader released 9 blood coffins. The blood coffins looked exactly the same as young Master Coffin's blood coffin battle body, but their auras were 100 times more powerful. Moreover, the blood coffins weren't blood red, but black. The 9 blood coffins circled around Coffin Leader, releasing sealing power to seal the surrounding space and form a powerful defense to resist the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's impact. However, the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's power was beyond Coffin Leader's imagination. The 9 blood coffins' defenses kept shattering under the impact of the array's power. Coffin Leader kept releasing his thoughts, but it was to no avail. Crack crack crack. The blood coffins began to shatter. The array's power penetrated the defenses and severely damaged Coffin Leader's body. Even his Tao heart and soul trembled in the Six Paths reincarnation grand array. Seeing this, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was very unhappy. That damn Su Feng, where is he hiding? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's good mood disappeared when Su Feng didn't show up. Crack crack crack. Under the impact of the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's power, Coffin Leader's 9 blood coffins began to shatter. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan, when I get out of this array, I will destroy Six Paths sky with my own hands. Coffin Leader let out a furious roar. The 9 blood coffins turned into blood light and were absorbed into his body. Puff puff puff. Without the protection of the blood coffins, the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's power hit Coffin Leader's body. His body was immediately shattered into pieces and then turned into a blood mist. Just when Sacred Lord Luanzhuan thought he had killed Leader Tian Coffin, a 30-meter-long blood coffin emerged from the blood mist with a loud boom. Then, the blood mist was sucked clean. The blood coffin's defense was very strong. Even the Six Paths reincarnation grand array's power couldn't crush it. You still have such a powerful technique. No wonder the coffin bandits could run rampant for so many years. However, since you are already trapped in the Six Paths reincarnation grand array, you will be crushed to death sooner or later. What I lost was only the Six Paths sky's origin energy. The Sacred Race's army is about to arrive. When the sacred race's army sweeps through Xixian, I will become an overlord. Why would I worry about not having enough territory and people? In the sky above the reincarnation realm, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan looked through the array and stared at the blood coffin. He imagined the scene of him becoming an unparalleled overlord, and his heart was filled with pride. Time passed day by day. The Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array continued to operate. About 3 years had passed. Under the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array's power, the reincarnation realm had completely collapsed and turned into dust. The 6 stone pillars that acted as the eye of the array appeared and floated in the array. Not only the reincarnation realm, but the Six Paths Sky's Six Paths Mystic World's origin energy was constantly being sucked away to maintain the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array's operation. The spiritual chi, world energy, and even fate were all starting to wither. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was ready to risk everything. He was prepared to sacrifice the Six Paths Sky to kill the coffin bandit. There was also Su Fang. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan had calculated that Su Fang was still in the reincarnation realm. However, he had concealed his presence with a peerless great technique. Thus, it was difficult to sense his presence. As long as the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array continued to operate, Su Fang would be crushed by the array sooner or later. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan would never have thought that there would be a blind spot inside the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array that the array's godly power could not cover. It was the 6 stone pillars. The stone pillars were the eye of the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array. Su Fang was hiding in the eye of the array. Even if the array's godly power was heaven-defying, it would not be able to affect him. Under the continuous impact of the array's godly power, the blood coffin that the coffin bandits hid in had turned from black to red. Its light had also dimmed. It was obvious that it would not be able to hold on for much longer. However, Su Fang, who was hiding in the stone pillar, could not wait any longer. The reason was simple. The heaven-devouring insects had already eaten the insides of the stone pillars. The array had been activated for such a long time that the stone pillars were on the verge of breaking. This can't go on. I must use the array to severely injure the coffin bandits before the eye of the array collapses. Otherwise, once the array collapses, it will be difficult to suppress him. Su Fang decisively made up his mind. He no longer wanted to watch the fire burn on the other side of the river. He wanted to light another fire. Swoosh! The heaven-devouring insects flew out from one of the stone pillars and landed on the blood coffin. The godly power of the array could not stop the heaven-devouring insects. Su Fang, who was inside the heaven-devouring insect's stomach, was shocked by the heaven-devouring insect's powerful abilities. The gluttonous heaven-devouring insects could not only eat anything, but their defense was also extremely powerful. No shackles could restrain them. Rustle! As soon as the heaven-devouring insects landed on the blood coffin, they immediately began to gnaw at it. The blood coffin, which even the Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array could not shake, had a hole in it in less than 2 hours. What the hell is this? How can it break my coffin? Ah! The coffin bandits' leader roared furiously from the blood coffin. The heaven-devouring insects had bitten a hole in the blood coffin. The Six Paths Reincarnation Grand Array's power instantly rushed into the blood coffin. The coffin bandits let out a miserable cry. It was obvious that he was severely injured again. Boom. Chapter 3089. Su Fang looked through the eyes of the heaven-devouring insect and immediately sucked in a breath of cold air inside the heaven-devouring insect's stomach. A monster that was nearly 10 feet tall flew out of the blood coffin. The monster was covered in 3-inch-long golden hair that looked like steel needles. It emitted a foul stench and extremely poisonous corpse chi. It looked like a corpse that had existed for countless years. The corpse refinery monster's aura was extremely terrifying. It had reached the level of an upper divine saint like the wine saint. It was even more shocking than the sky coffin leader at his peak. Su Fang had seen the Sky Coffin young master's original appearance before. When he saw the Sky Coffin leader turn into such a corpse refinery monster, he was surprised and shocked at first, but he quickly recovered. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan saw this scene and was stunned. He had never thought that the Sky Coffin leader would be such a monster. Die! The corpse refinery monster that the Sky Coffin leader had turned into roared at the Heaven Devourer insect with anger and resentment. It opened its mouth and spat out a green corpse fire, which instantly corroded and burned the surrounding formation. The Heaven Devourer insect was also engulfed by the corpse fire and burned. However, the Heaven Devourer insect seemed to be fine. Its body flashed and it teleported thousands of feet away. Although the formation's power also shackled it, it was not as strong as the corpse refinery monster. Boom! Boom! The corpse refinery monster that the Sky Coffin leader had turned into was about to chase after the Heaven Devourer insect when the 6 paths of reincarnation formation's power surged and shackled the corpse refinery monster again. Under the impact of the formation's power, the corpse refinery monster's powerful body began to be compressed. However, it did not shatter. Instead, it quickly shrank until it was the size of a normal person. The corpse fire on its body was also suppressed to the point of dying. The corpse refinery monster roared again and again, but it could not escape the formation's power. Its body finally began to shatter. A large amount of corpse poison and green blood poured out of its body. Just when Su Fang and Sacred Lord Luanzhuan thought Coffin Leader was dead for sure, a poof sound was heard. One of the stone pillars shattered. The 6 paths of reincarnation formation's power suddenly weakened a lot. Impossible! How could the eye of the 6 paths of reincarnation grand array be broken? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was shocked. Looking at the heaven-swallowing worm, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan came to a realization. He gritted his teeth and said, "Su Fang, you destroyed the array core." As soon as he finished speaking, puff, puff, the other stone pillars also shattered one after another. The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation grand array receded like a receding tide. In the end, it disappeared completely. The realm of reincarnation returned to normal, but the substance had already disappeared. Even the heavens are helping me, ha ha ha. The refined corpse monster laughed maniacally, causing the void to tremble. Corpse chi gushed out from his body, and the wounds on his body began to heal rapidly. His body also began to grow rapidly, and finally, he turned into a 5-meter-tall refined corpse monster. However, his aura was clearly much weaker than before. He was not even in his human form, nor was he as tall as before. It was obvious that he had been severely injured. What a pity! I was actually unable to kill him. This is going to be troublesome. When Su Fang saw this scene in the heaven-swallowing worm's stomach, he felt that it was a pity. However, it did not matter. At this moment, Leader Tian Coffin was already severely injured. Su Fang was not afraid of him. At most, it would be a little troublesome. Moreover, Su Fang was extremely jealous of Leader Tian Coffin's Sky Coffin. Previously, Su Fang had planned to refine young Master Tian Coffin's blood coffin into a Dharma body. However, he felt that the quality was not good enough, so he gave up. Leader Tian Coffin's blood coffin was 100 times more powerful than young Master Tian Coffin's. If he could suppress Leader Tian Coffin and take the blood coffin, if the 6 paths of reincarnation grand array was not destroyed, Leader Tian Coffin would not be able to keep it. Therefore, Su Fang did not regret not being able to kill Leader Tian Coffin with the help of the array core. Die! The refined corpse monster's eyes burned with corpse flames. He looked at the heaven-swallowing worm and laughed strangely. Swoosh! The refined corpse monster waved his hand and grabbed the blood coffin. He slapped the blood coffin and a blood light shot out from the blood coffin. The blood light turned into a blood light that enveloped the heaven-swallowing worm and its surroundings. It quickly turned into a blood coffin shadow. It had the power to seal life and shackled the heaven-swallowing worm inside. Then, a suction force burst out from the blood coffin and was about to suck the heaven-swallowing worm inside. Puff! The heaven-swallowing worm suddenly opened its mouth and spat out a primordial chi. The heaven-swallowing worm took the opportunity to escape the seal. Su Fong flew out from the heaven-swallowing worm's stomach. He looked at the refined corpse monster and shouted domineeringly, "Heaven Coffin Dao Sage, this time, I will let you suffer the same fate as your son." Su Fong. After Leader Tian Coffin turned into his original state, his mind was not clear. He became evil and violent. However, he would never forget Su Fong, his enemy. Chi chi chi. Rays of blood light shot out from the blood coffin. A total of 9 rays of blood light turned into 9 blood coffin seals. They wanted to seal Su Fong's fate, life, Dao Palace, Dao Heart, fate, everything. Su Fong, you are digging your own grave. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan, who was in midair, saw this scene and finally vented his anger. If you were in your peak state and that heaven coffin was not damaged, I would have to be wary of you and could only run away. But now, what do I, Su Fong, have to be afraid of? Su Fong revealed a lofty smile. His body was burning with battle intent. A supreme domineering aura that looked down on experts appeared spontaneously. Boom boom boom. Layers of light wheels surged out from Su Fong's body. The 9 Suns Heavenly Wheel, Massacre Heavenly Wheel, Nature Heavenly Wheel, Yin-Yang Heavenly Wheel, Formation Heavenly Wheel, Poison Heavenly Wheel, Calamity Heavenly Wheel, Fate Heavenly Wheel, and Primordial Heavenly Wheel. A total of 9 heavenly wheels spiraled towards the blood coffin seals. The heavenly wheels collided with the blood coffin seals, causing a huge explosion. The heavenly wheels collapsed and the blood coffin seals shattered. The primordial heavenly wheel's power did not diminish. After shattering the blood coffin seals, it continued to roll towards the leader of the heaven coffin seals. Fear and panic appeared in the eyes of the corpse refinery monster. It was instinctively afraid of the primordial heavenly wheel. Puff! The corpse refinery monster spat out a ball of corpse fire. A fist-sized corpse core was wrapped in the corpse fire. A terrifying corpse chi erupted and burned fiercely. It collided with the primordial heavenly wheel and shattered it. However, the corpse core had shrunk significantly. The corpse core was the origin of the corpse refinery monster. The consumption of the corpse core had greatly reduced the corpse refinery monster's strength. Roar! The leader of the heaven coffin seals let out a furious roar like a ferocious ghost and charged towards Su Fong. You want to compete with me in terms of physical strength? Su Fong sneered. He merged the blood fiend Dharma body with his physical body and charged towards the corpse refinery monster. Boom! 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 Every punch and kick of the corpse refinery monster contained terrifying corpse chi and evil physical strength. One punch was enough to destroy half of the sealed world. Su Fong's perfect realm physical body was already extremely powerful. Now it was comparable to a divine saint expert. After merging with the blood fiend Dharma body, not only did his attacks produce the sound of the heavenly way, but they also contained a shocking killing aura. The collision between the two caused the void to collapse continuously. The shockwaves spread for hundreds of thousands of miles. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan, who was watching from the sky, had an illusion that Su Fong was now a peerless divine saint and not a cultivator in the middle stage of the Dao Void realm. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan realized how ridiculous his plan of using Su Fong as bait was. He was clearly a scourge that would destroy the 6 paths of heaven. As for the surviving cultivators of the 6 paths of heaven, they had already fled far away. Those who had not reached the upper stage of the Dao Void realm were not even qualified to watch the battle. Just the aftermath of the collision was enough to kill a Dao Void expert. It could be seen how terrifying the battle was. Boom! After another collision between Su Fong and the corpse refinery monster, both of them were pushed back hundreds of miles. Su Fang's physical body was badly mutilated. The evil corpse aura and corpse poison kept corroding his body. Fortunately, Gue Gue was devouring the corpse aura and poison in his body. Otherwise, the poison of the corpse refinery monster would be enough to severely injure Su Fang. The corpse refinery monster was not in a better state. It was already severely injured from the impact of the 6 paths of reincarnation formation. After colliding with Su Fang again and again, it made things worse. Its aura became even weaker. Looking at the corpse refinery monster, Su Fang's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Looks like I have to use the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique to control this corpse refinery monster's fate. The corpse refinery monster's body was extremely powerful. Coupled with the blood coffin, Su Fang's various supernatural powers and physical attacks could not suppress it. However, when he thought of the consequences of using the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique, Su Fang hesitated. This corpse refinery monster was extremely powerful. If he wanted to use the life-tying karma line to control its fate, he would have to consume a shocking amount of his lifespan. Suddenly, buzz, buzz, buzz. The Heavens Spill Mystic Scripture and the Heavens Secret Life Shrinking Technique Dao Scripture flashed in the Jiuquan Dao Palace at the same time. A fatal crisis was about to descend. Su Fang looked up at the sky in horror. The corpse refinery monster once again charged at Su Fang. Halfway through, it also sensed that something was amiss. It stopped abruptly and looked up at the sky. Rumble! The sky rumbled like thunder and was instantly enveloped in a blood-red color. Then, the void seemed to be torn apart by a pair of invisible hands, and a huge projection of an array formation was projected in the void. The array imprint quickly turned from nothingness to reality. Finally, it transformed into a huge blood door that was thousands of feet tall. It exuded a domineering and evil aura. With the appearance of this blood door, the void within a radius of millions of miles was shackled. Time, space, laws, and everything else seemed to be sealed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Figures that were definitely not human jumped out of the blood door and quickly turned from nothingness to reality. The foreign races have invaded the Western mystic divine domain. There was a boom in Su Fang's head, and his heart was in turmoil. He never expected that the foreign races would invade the Western mystic divine domain at this moment. It was much earlier than Su Fang had expected. Welcome to the Sacred Race. Chapter 3090. Ho-ho-ho! One batch of foreign beings after another surged out of the massive Crimson Gate. Different races had different appearances and auras. Some looked like beasts while some looked like humans. What was similar was that all of them looked ferocious, evil, and evil. The number of the outsiders' army was innumerable, densely packed. Just looking at it made one's scalp go numb with fear. Su Fang subconsciously wanted to escape, but he was shocked to find that the huge blood door released a terrifying spatial distortion and sealing power. The void was sealed, and although he could barely fly, it was difficult for him to teleport. The corpse refinery monster that the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect had turned into was also shocked and terrified. He crawled back into the blood coffin and quickly flew out of the realm of reincarnation. Who knew? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan shouted. Lords of the Sacred Clan, that is a peerless expert of the human clan. Do not let him escape. Borrowing the residual power of the blood door's teleportation, the foreign races flashed and blocked the path of the leader of the Heaven Coffin race. The leader of the Heaven Coffin race was severely injured, so he couldn't escape. Boom! A tyrannical and violent aura gushed out from the blood door. Immediately thereafter, a massive figure that was close to 200 feet tall emerged in a flash, quickly transforming into a 3-headed foreign monster draped in a crimson cloak. Su Fang's divine light swept over this outsider, and the divine light changed slightly. This outsider was comparable to Leader Celestial Coffin at his peak. Borrowing the power of the blood door's teleportation, the 3-headed alien expert flashed and appeared in front of Saint Lord Luanzhuan. You are the master of Six Paths Sky who betrayed the human race? The tone of the foreign race expert was filled with disdain and contempt. The surrounding foreign tribes looked at Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the cultivators of the Six Paths with disdain. There were also some foreign races who kept licking their lip. Their eyes were filled with greed, as if they had seen the most delicious food and were itching to devour them. Holy Lord Luanzhuan respectfully knelt before the three monsters. I am. The right head of the three-headed monster sneered disdainfully. I told you to lure and kill the experts of the Western Black Mountain. How did it go? I am incompetent, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan said with a trembling voice. Actually, it wasn't that Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was incompetent. It was just that he was too unlucky this time. He had met Su Fang, and with the addition of Coffin Leader, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's plan had completely failed. Useless trash. The only value of the human race's existence is to become food for my race. Lord Yu Shui will soon arrive at the Six Paths Heavens. Let's see how you're going to explain this to her. The middle head of the three-headed monster sneered. The head on the left, which was covered in scales, kept flicking out its tongue-like tongue, making a hair-raising hissing sound. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan knelt there, trembling all over. He was afraid that this foreign race expert would devour him in a fit of rage. Hearing the three-headed monster mention Yu Shui's name, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's body trembled again. His face turned pale. Lord Yu Shui, the Lord Yu Shui mentioned by the three-headed monster, was a peerless expert comparable to a peak Dao saint of the human race, a half-step Daozu. He was one of the 12 kings of the foreign race army that had invaded the human world. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan hurriedly said, My lord, I didn't come out empty-handed. I lured the number 1 genius of the human race to the Six Paths Heavens. There's also the Dao Saint expert Coffin Leader. These two people are indeed extraordinary. My lord, please take action and suppress them. The number 1 genius of the human race? The foreign race expert looked at Su Fang. His eyes flashed with an extremely demonic divine light and swept over Su Fang's body. Middle Dao Void Realm Cultivator? Such a majestic life, but less than 1,000,000 years old. I didn't expect that there would be such a cultivator in the human race, the foreign race expert said in surprise. His eyes flickered with an evil light. The left head kept hissing like a poisonous snake spitting out its tongue. Then, he ordered the surrounding foreign races, Go, capture those 2 ants for me. Be careful of that coffin. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. More than 10 foreign race experts made use of the power of teleportation that had yet to dissipate and charged toward Su Fang and Coffin Leader. The three-headed monster attached great importance to Coffin Leader and sent out 2 foreign race experts who were comparable to ordinary Dao Saint. However, the three-headed monster obviously looked down on Su Fang. It sent out 1 foreign race expert who was comparable to the Middle Dao Void Realm, and the rest were ordinary foreign race cultivators at the Dao Void Realm. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan hurriedly reminded, My lord, be careful of that human genius. He is more powerful than me. How can such a human cultivator surpass you, a Dao Saint expert? The three-headed monster sneered disdainfully. I didn't expect you to be so useless. No wonder you can't even handle such a small matter. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was ashamed. It wasn't that he wasn't powerful enough. It was that Su Fang was too heaven-defying. He wasn't an ordinary cultivator at all. However, although Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was sullen, he didn't dare to argue with the three-headed monster. If he angered the monster, he wouldn't have a good ending. He might be swallowed on the spot. Swoosh, swoosh. The 2 foreign race experts who were comparable to ordinary Dao Saints started a fierce battle with Coffin Leader. Coffin Leader was indeed powerful. Although he was severely injured, he didn't fall into a disadvantageous position. Instead, he suppressed the 2 foreign race experts. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Looking at the dozen foreign race cultivators who were leaping across the sky, Su Fang sneered and activated the heaven-piercing Blood King vines. Hundreds of blood vines flew out and weaved into a huge net. Instantly, it enveloped the dozen foreign race cultivators. Hiss! 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 The heaven-piercing Blood King vine's ability to penetrate and devour life was fully displayed at this moment. In less than 10 breaths, the dozen foreign race cultivators who had reached the Tao Void realm were devoured and turned into dried corpses. The blood vines danced around Su Fang. They looked like a monster, domineering and murderous. Whoosh! Blood vine race? No, it's the heaven-piercing Blood King vines. How can a low-level human possess such a high-level life form like the heaven-piercing Blood King vines? Could it be that this human cultivator has been possessed by the heaven-piercing Blood King vines? The foreign race army was shocked. Everyone's attention was attracted by Su Fang. The 6 eyes on the 3 heads of the 3-headed monster were all filled with disbelief. There were many kinds of foreign races. However, the hierarchy of life forms was very strict. The heaven-piercing Blood King vines were powerful life forms at the top of the food chain. Moreover, the heaven-piercing Blood King vines were extremely cruel and evil. They specialized in devouring life forms to grow. Even among the foreign races, they were terrifying existences. How could the foreign race experts not be shocked when a high-level life form of the foreign race was fused by a human cultivator? Looking at the 3-headed monster's expression, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan sneered in his heart. I have reminded you before. If Su Fang is an ordinary Tao Void Realm cultivator, how could he destroy the 6 paths of heaven's plan? Capture that human prodigy and I will reward you handsomely. The 3-headed monster was surprised and shocked. He looked at Su Fang with greed in his eyes and gave an order to a foreign race expert who was comparable to a Tao saint. It was no wonder that the 3-headed monster was so excited and greedy. Although he was powerful, he could not directly fuse with a high-level life form like the heaven-piercing Blood King vines. However, the opportunity had come. If he could capture Su Fang and devour him, wouldn't he be able to obtain the heaven-piercing Blood King vines? The foreign race Tao Saint waved his tail and pounced towards Su Fang. He was like a peerless monster. When he was thousands of miles away from Su Fang, he opened his mouth and howled like a wolf. The void sound waves attacked Su Fang's Tao heart. The foreign race Tao Saint quickly followed up and struck out a sharp claw towards Su Fang's waist. Lowly low-level life form, surrender. The foreign race expert's aura was comparable to an ordinary Tao Saint of the human race. However, he had a powerful innate ability and his attack was far stronger than an ordinary Tao Saint of the human race. You are just an ordinary Tao Saint. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me, Su Fang? Su Fang revealed a domineering smile, and allowed the foreign race expert's sound wave attack to attack his Tao heart. Although his 7-colored Vajra Tao heart had yet to reach the immortal Tao heart, how could it be so easily shaken? The foreign race expert's sound wave attack only caused Su Fang's body to sway. Then, he activated his blood fury spiritual body. Slayer's heart thumped and the sound of the heavenly way exploded like a heavenly drum. Boom! The sound of the heavenly way rolled out and shattered the surrounding shackles. It also shattered the foreign race expert's claw. TSK. TSK. If it was an adult heaven-piercing Blood King vines, I would not dare to fight against you. How dare an immature heaven-piercing Blood King vines try to restrain me? The alien race Tao Saint laughed coldly. He waved his arms and slashed out many sharp claw seals, crushing the blood vines one by one. However, one of the blood vines was extremely tough. When the claw landed on it, it only caused the blood vine to tremble. The foreign race expert was caught off guard and was tightly bound by the blood vine. The foreign race expert exploded with power and tried to break the blood vine. However, he did not know that the blood vine was infused with the silk of the heaven-swallowing insect and was extremely tough. How could it be broken so easily? Su Fang took the opportunity to fly out and landed a heavy punch on the foreign race expert's body. Boom, boom, boom. The foreign race expert's body was really strong. Su Fang's blood fury spiritual body's killing power and the sound of the heavenly way could not break through his defense. However, the terrifying impact of the sound of the heavenly way, coupled with the killing aura, seeped into the foreign race expert's body and shook his internal organs and his will. The foreign race expert was tightly bound by the heaven-piercing blood king vines and could not break free. The only thing he could do was take a beating. This foreign race expert was a powerful expert among the foreign race. However, due to a moment of carelessness, he was shackled by Su Fang's heaven-piercing blood king vines and became a punching bag for Su Fang to beat. This scene had all of the foreign race beings watching with their jaws agape. In their impression, the human race was a group of weak, and cowardly life forms. A foreign race expert was actually beaten up by a human void Dao realm cultivator. This completely shattered the foreign race expert's impression of him. At this moment, no more foreign race experts appeared from the giant blood door. There were more than 1,000,000 foreign race experts in the Six Paths Heaven. Chapter 3091. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. More than 100 foreign race cultivators, including 2 ordinary Dao saints and the rest, who were all Dao Void Realm cultivators, charged toward Su Fang. There were so many foreign race cultivators, more than the ones who had dealt with Leader Sky Coffin, and they were even more powerful. It was obvious that the 3-headed monster did not dare to underestimate Su Fang anymore. The foreign race Dao Saint who was fighting with Su Fang was severely injured under Su Fang's continuous attack. He was on the verge of death. Su Fang waved his hand and grabbed. He sucked the foreign race Dao Saint into the Dao Palace and locked him up. Bound by the special heaven-piercing blood king vine, this foreign race Dao Saint expert was heavily injured and could not cause much of a ruckus. Looking at the foreign race cultivators who were charging toward him, Su Fang's eyes flashed with ruthlessness and decisiveness. Not only did he give up on the idea of escaping, but an even bolder idea appeared in his mind. Su Fang, join forces with me and break out of this encirclement. Unexpectedly, Leader Sky Coffin suddenly sent a message to Su Fang with his divine will. Join forces? Leader Sky Coffin and Su Fang were still fighting to the death. Now, he actually suggested joining forces? Although Leader Sky Coffin had turned into a refined corpse, he had not lost his mind. He was now surrounded by 2 foreign race Dao Saints and would be suppressed sooner or later. His so-called joining forces was just to let Su Fang help him escape. Su Fang was not a fool. Why would he join forces with him? Moreover, Su Fang had no intention of escaping at all. My master's 10-direction seal. The shocking power of the 10-direction seal instantly covered Su Fang and the surrounding 100 miles. The powerful enchantment separated Su Fang from the outside. However, Su Fang used the My Master's 10-direction seal this time, not to seal the enemy, but to defend himself. Then, Su Fang did something that no one could understand. He grabbed a Xian Guang and it swept out like a long river. Inside the Xian Guang, there were tens of millions of pills, Xian Bao, spirit stones, spirit items, and gemstones. Although the highest quality did not exceed high grade, there were so many of them that they were like a vast ocean. The aura of Xian Guang they emitted was so dazzling and attractive. Treasures! That human cultivator actually has so many treasures. Capture him, and I'll have a share of those treasures. The 100 or so outsiders came to an abrupt halt as they looked at the sea of treasures around Su Fang. Their eyes were filled with greed as they attacked the barrier with all their might. In midair, tens of thousands of non-human cultivators were charging towards Su Fang with reckless abandon. This non-humankind army came from different races, and when the non-humankind invaded the human world, there was an unwritten rule that the treasures of the humankind would belong to whoever could snatch them first. Now that Su Fang had taken out so many treasures at once, How could these non-humankind cultivators not scramble for them? The three-headed monster saw that Su Fong and Coffin Leader had no chance of escaping, so it did not restrain the non-humankind cultivators. Instead, it looked on with a smile. He's crazy. Could it be that Su Fong has lost his mind after being surrounded by the sacred race army? Does he think that he can't die quickly enough and actually took out all his treasures? Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the surviving Six Paths sect cultivators were all dumbfounded. Then, these cultivators felt as if their hearts were being cut by knives, and they were filled with regret. Why was this happening? If they had suppressed Su Fong earlier, all the treasures would have gone to the Six Paths sect, and the Six Paths sect would not have suffered such heavy losses. How could they not feel regret and heartache? At this moment, they did not dare to snatch the treasures from the non-humankind. Boom, boom, boom. The non-humankind experts attacked like a tide, landing on the world barrier that Su Fong had created with the My Lord's 10-direction seal. In less than 20 breaths, the barrier began to crumble layer by layer. Su Fong suddenly waved his arm. Whoosh! All the pills and treasures flew out in all directions. The non-humankind cultivators who were charging over were instantly thrown into chaos, and they began to frantically snatch the treasures. In order to obtain the treasures, some of the non-humankind experts started to fight, and the entire scene became extremely chaotic. My lord, Su Fong is very cunning. He's planning to abandon the treasures and create chaos so that he can escape. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan thought that he had seen through Su Fong's intentions and hurriedly warned the three-headed monster. Escape? With me here, he won't be able to escape. The three-headed monster sneered coldly. As he expected, although Su Fong had many treasures, they were not enough to catch the attention of the Tao saints of the non-humankind experts, and they continued to attack Su Fong. At this moment, Su Fong activated his primordial chaos and used the formless heavenly wheel, forming a huge wheel of light around him. The wheel of light spun continuously, and its powerful defense made it difficult for the two Tao saints of the non-humankind experts to break through. That's the origin energy? No wonder he's the #1 genius of the human race. He actually managed to cultivate the origin energy. If he becomes a Tao saint or even a Daozu, how powerful would he be? The three-headed monster was once again shocked and surprised. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan hurriedly said, "It's because he's so extraordinary that the Six Paths of Heaven's plan was ruined by him. If we can subdue such a powerful person and use him for our divine tribe, he'll be much more useful than a piece of trash like you." The three-headed monster's next words once again hit Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's sore spot. As a Tao Saint expert, how could he not be depressed when he was repeatedly called a piece of trash? Suddenly Su Fong, who was protected by the primordial chaos wheel, suddenly grabbed another Xian Guang. Millions of elixirs, various spiritual items, divine stones, gems, and many Xian Guang floated in the Xian Guang. Although the quantity was far less than what he had taken out before, the lowest quality was still supreme grade, and there were many peak supreme grade ones. Whoosh! The non-humankind experts in the air exclaimed in shock. They had broken through the strongest mystic world in the southern mystic divine domain, but the treasures they had obtained were not as many as what Su Fong had taken out. How could they not be shocked? This time, almost all of the non-humankind cultivators were tempted. Swoosh! 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 200,000 non-humankind experts charged toward Su Fong. Su Fong's lips curled into a mocking smile. Then, with a wave of his hand, all the treasures flew out of the primordial chaos wheel and flew in different directions. Boom! 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 The non-humankind cultivators swarmed forward. Other than the few Tao saints, the rest of the non-humankind experts were fighting for the treasures with all their might. The situation became more and more chaotic. What is that human cultivator trying to do? The three-headed monster was shocked. He could not understand Su Fong's intentions. Sacred Master Luanzhuan could not help but remind him again. Su Fang must be up to something. My lord, you must be careful. The three-headed monster snorted. With me and the million-strong army here, it would be a joke if we let a mere Dao Void stage human cultivator escape. Sacred Master Luanzhuan hurriedly agreed. Yes, yes. With my lord here, no matter how heaven-defying that Su Fang is, he will not be able to escape today. The Hong Meng heavenly wheel remained motionless under the attacks of the two Dao saints from the foreign races. The three-headed monster raised his eyebrows and was about to order the non-humankind experts to attack Su Fang. However, in the next moment, Su Fang took out a Xian Guang and rolled out a few Xian Bao, spirit items, and a few pills. Although there were only a few of them, the aura that they exuded was 10 times more shocking than the aura of the first and second treasures combined. One of the drops of blood exuded an aura that was as strong as that of the Daozu. It was the drop of blood of the Daozu that Su Fang had obtained from the Chaos Heavenly Tide. He had given half of it to the Wine Sage and used some more. Now only 1/3 of it was left. The Rui Heavenly Dipper Wheel, the Cold Saber Monarch, the Fuyao Cave. Su Fang took out all the king-grade Xian Bao and the few king-grade pills that he had left. In an instant, the void within tens of thousands of miles instantly fell silent. With such shocking treasures, even the Dao saints could not help but be jealous, let alone the ordinary non-humankind experts. Boom! After a while, almost all the non-humankind experts charged towards Su Fang. They were like a swarm of locusts that covered the sky and were about to drown Su Fang. Even the two Dao saints of the non-humankind experts that were fighting against the leader of the coffin race forgot to continue their attack and decided to join in the fight for the treasures. You want my treasures? I'll give them all to you. Su Fang laughed out loud. He waved his hand and swept all the treasures out of the Hong Meng heavenly wheel. It felt like he was casually throwing out a pile of trash. Boom, boom, boom. Millions of non-humankind experts went crazy and fought for the treasures. Crazy. Su Fang is crazy. He must know that he can't escape death. That's why he took out all the treasures to destroy them. These treasures should all be mine. Sacred Master Luanzhuan was shocked and his blood kept dripping. The three-headed monster also realized that something was wrong. Then, he saw the leader of the coffin race, who was preparing to escape. He immediately shouted angrily, "If any of them escape, I will not let them off easily." Although the two Dao saints of the non-humankind experts that were attacking the leader of the coffin race were unwilling, they had no choice but to give up the idea of snatching the treasures. They charged towards the leader of the coffin race. The other two Dao saints of the non-humankind also started to attack the Hong Meng heavenly wheel. Su Fang looked at the three-headed monster that was still standing there without moving. He frowned and said, "A distance of more than 50,000 miles is too far. Daozu's blood might not be able to move you, but I don't believe that even the Hong Meng heavenly treasure can't move you." Su Fang let out a strange laugh. He grabbed with his right hand and a bronze oil lamp appeared in his palm. The aura of the Hong Meng heavenly treasure instantly spread out. All the cultivators of the non-humankind who were fighting for the treasures, including the three-headed monster and the leader of the coffin race, stopped and looked at Su Fang. Under the aura of the Hong Meng heavenly treasure, everyone felt a strange fear and respect. Even their origin souls were trembling. However, the eyes of every non-humankind and human cultivator were burning with the flames of shock and greed. That's a Hong Meng heavenly treasure. Chapter 3092. And it's a complete primordial heavenly treasure, the longevity lamp. That's the legendary longevity lamp that can grant one eternal life. The three-headed monster's heart was trembling, and the eyes of all three heads were burning with flames. To the alien races, the primordial heavenly treasure was also a supreme treasure. No other treasure could surpass it. A primordial heavenly treasure could even allow a weak alien race to rise rapidly and become a powerful race. Of course, the prerequisite was that the alien race would not be destroyed by other races before it rose to power. Moreover, the longevity lamp's ability was to grant eternal life to all human cultivators, demons, and alien races. How could the three-headed monster not be shocked and excited? Whoosh! The void around the three-headed monster twisted, and its body began to rapidly fade into nothingness. When he reappeared, he was already near the primordial heavenly wheel. His terrifying aura directly turned more than 10 alien race cultivators into pools of blood. The longevity lamp is mine. The three-headed monster looked at the longevity lamp, and the greed in his heart almost drowned out his rationality. No, this human cultivator is plotting something. The three-headed monster saw Su Fang's ice-cold eyes and suddenly became clear-headed. The three-headed monster immediately thought of the power of the primordial heavenly treasure, and he felt as if he had been doused with ice water. The longevity lamp was indeed a supreme treasure, but at the same time, it also had the power to easily kill him. How could he not be terrified? Immediately, his body flashed again, and he teleported 1,000,000 miles away. That alien race cultivator is actually so cautious. What a pity! Su Fang felt a sense of pity in his heart. It turned out that he had taken out all the treasures to lure all the alien races to within 5,000 miles. Then, he would activate the longevity lamp at all costs and kill all the alien races in one fell swoop. With Su Fang's current strength, the longevity lamp's power covered an area of 5,000 miles. Beyond this area, the longevity lamp's power would not be effective. Su Fang's plan was indeed bold and crazy. Unexpectedly, just as the plan was about to succeed, the strongest three-headed monster actually sensed danger and escaped. A powerful expert escaped, but it's worth it to be able to kill 1,000,000 alien race soldiers. Su Fang did not hesitate and prepared to activate the longevity lamp. Unexpectedly, boom! He had never expected the three-headed monster to appear outside the Hongmeng heavenly wheel once again. Looking at the three-headed monster that had returned, Su Fang was shocked and stunned. The three-headed monster's icy gaze pierced through the primordial heavenly wheel and looked at Su Fang. No matter what your goal is for taking out the longevity lamp, I will obtain the longevity lamp at any cost. Human cultivator, hand over the longevity lamp obediently and I will not make things difficult for you. In fact, I will even give you benefits. Didn't you run away in fear just now? Su Fang sneered disdainfully. The three heads of the three-headed monster laughed complacently at the same time. You are just a cultivator in the middle stage of Tao Void Realm. How can you fuse with the longevity lamp? Even if you have some special technique to fuse with the longevity lamp, how can you activate it? I didn't think of it before and was almost scared to death by you. Really? Since you want the longevity lamp, why don't you come and get it yourself? Su Fang looked at the three-headed monster with a mocking gaze. Since you are not willing to hand it over, I will take the longevity lamp personally. Not only the longevity lamp, but I will also take everything that belongs to you. The three-headed monster shouted domineeringly. Suddenly, a Tao Saint expert of the alien race suddenly stopped it. My lord, Lord Yuxue will be here soon. This treasure should belong to Lord Yuxue. Lord Yuxue. The three-headed monster's eyes were filled with fear. However, when it saw the longevity lamp, the three-headed monster's greed immediately overcame its fear. It shouted angrily, I saw this treasure first. Naturally, it belongs to me. Lord Yuxue cannot snatch it from me. Boom! A domineering and evil aura surged out of its body and forced all the alien race cultivators to retreat. Then, a red light suddenly shot out from one of its heads. With a screech, it actually pierced through Su Fang's primordial heavenly wheel. It turned out that the three-headed monster's tongue was sharper than a royal-grade Xian sword. It broke through Su Fang's primordial heavenly wheel in one strike. Then, the three-headed monster attacked again and shattered the primordial heavenly wheel. At this moment, Su Fang said in a voice filled with killing intent, "All of you can die." With a thought, the longevity lamp was activated. The oil lamp suddenly lit up, and a gentle red light spread out, covering thousands of miles of space in an instant. In an instant, all the alien race cultivators' souls trembled. Then, some of the weaker alien race cultivators' souls uncontrollably left their bodies and flew toward the oil lamp. Whoosh! Whoosh! One after another, transparent phantoms surged toward the oil lamp. Tens of thousands of alien race souls gathered together and surged toward Su Fang like a tidal wave. There wasn't a trace of fear on the faces of those soul phantoms. Instead, there was excitement. They were like moths that knew that they would die if they jumped into the flames, but they still did not hesitate. After his soul left his body floated on the spot, becoming a soulless zombie. What was even weirder was that these soulless non-humankind beings actually had smiles on their hideous faces. The entire scene made Su Fang feel incomparably shocked. At the same time, his scalp went numb. This scene was too terrifying. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the surviving cultivators of the Six Paths Celestial didn't dare to compete with the foreign experts for treasures. However, all of them were trembling in fear, and their souls were about to leave their bodies. Pa pa pa! One soul after another flew into the oil lamp, and the flame flickered continuously, becoming even brighter. At first, it was just ordinary alien cultivators, but then it was Dowlords, and then Dowlords. Their souls began to fly uncontrollably towards the longevity lamp. The foreign experts of the Dao Void Realm and above had unusually strong souls. They could still control their souls from leaving their bodies. However, under the power of the longevity lamp, the primordial heavenly treasure, their souls would be devoured sooner or later. The ferocious faces of these Dao Void Realm experts were filled with shock, fear, and then despair. Under the power of the longevity lamp, the truly powerful experts could still stabilize their souls for the time being. However, they could sense that under the power of the longevity lamp, their willpower was beginning to crumble. Their hearts went from resistance to submission and finally, excitement. They actually had the desire to throw their souls into the longevity lamp. Human ant, I didn't expect you to be able to activate the longevity lamp. Looking at the non-humankind beings dying one after another, the three-headed monster grimaced and looked at Su Fang with eyes full of hatred. Su Fang smiled indifferently. He looked at the three-headed monster as if he was looking at a corpse. Under the power of the longevity lamp, except for Daozu, no one could escape death. You want to devour my life? Don't even think about it. The three-headed monster roared angrily. Rumbling sounds came from his body. Then, evil flames surged out from his body. Then, he teleported away. This foreign expert was unwilling to be killed by the longevity lamp. He burned his origin energy and did not hesitate to sacrifice his own life to escape. Whoosh! The three-headed monster appeared thousands of miles away. However, it was only his physical body that appeared thousands of miles away. His soul was still in the same place. At this moment, the three-headed monster's soul was filled with fear and despair. He tried his best to return to his physical body. However, under the overbearing power of the longevity lamp, how could his soul move even an inch? No, millions of soldiers, including me, were killed by a lowly human cultivator. I can't accept this. The three-headed monster's soul was filled with despair and unwillingness. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After a dozen breaths, the foreign expert's expression changed from fear and despair to a strange smile. His soul also began to leave his physical body and flew toward the longevity lamp. Then, it was the foreign experts who were ordinary Dao Saints. Roar, roar, roar. It was the leader of the Heavenly Coffin sect. He had been attacked by two foreign Dao Saints and was forced to hide in the Heavenly Coffin. Although the Heavenly Coffin was protecting him, it could not block the power of the longevity lamp. His soul also began to leave his physical body. he roared in despair from within the heavenly coffin. However, under the terrifying power of the longevity lamp, no matter how unwilling he could only wait for death. Another 10 breaths passed. The foreign Tao saint's soul was also devoured by the longevity lamp. Then, it was the leader of the heavenly coffin sect and the three-headed monster. The souls of these Tao saints were extremely powerful. After being devoured by the longevity lamp, the lamp was almost filled to the brim. The flame that it emitted flickered and became even brighter. With Su Fang as the center, the area within 10,000 miles was filled with foreign race corpses. In the 1 million foreign race army, other than the 10 million foreign race cultivators who were lucky enough to survive, the rest, including the three-headed monster, were all dead. The power of the longevity lamp was so domineering. Looking at the sea of corpses, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the surviving 6 paths sect cultivators were all shocked. Their souls were trembling. The great fear that came from the bottom of their hearts made them lose the courage to run for their lives. Su Fang's face was as pale as paper. His entire body was trembling. Because activating the longevity lamp required Su Fang's soul to be the wick of the lamp, it was equivalent to burning his original soul. Such excruciating pain far surpassed any physical pain he had ever experienced. If not for Su Fang's strong Tao heart, just the intense pain of his soul burning would have caused his will to collapse and he would become an idiot without any consciousness. The light of the longevity lamp shone on his face, making him look like a terrifying god of death. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan and the others completely lost the courage to look at him. Devil, Su Fang is the incarnation of the devil. The sacred clan of Luanzhuan, the cultivators of the 6 paths sect, and the surviving foreign race cultivators were filled with fear that they had never felt before. Chapter 3093. The treasures that Su Fang had thrown out as bait were all among the corpses. The alien races had powerful life energy. Every corpse was a cultivation resource, especially the corpses of the Tao saints of the alien races. They were priceless treasures. What excited Su Fang the most was the heavenly coffin leader's heavenly coffin and refined corpse. Those were the divine sources for his avatar. Aside from that, just the fact that Su Fang had killed an alien army of 1 million in one go was enough to make him famous in the human world. Even in the southern profound divine domain's battlefield, he had never killed so many cultivators in one go. This was undoubtedly a heavy blow to the alien races. They had just stepped into the western profound divine domain, and they had already suffered a blow. However, Su Fang had also paid a heavy price for this. Activating the longevity lamp required one's soul as the wick. As a result, Su Fang's soul was greatly damaged. An injury to the soul was not like a physical injury. In fact, it was even more terrifying than losing one's life energy. Su Fang had the means to recover one's physical body and life energy. However, it was not that easy to recover one's soul. It would take time for the soul to recover. However, Su Fang had the longevity lamp. After devouring so many souls, they had all turned into lamp oil for the longevity lamp. The lamp oil was the purest form of soul energy. Su Fang could use the lamp oil to recover his soul. In comparison, it was much easier for him to do so. I didn't expect activating the longevity lamp to be so painful. Su Fang felt weak. He felt as if he would never wake up again. After this experience, Su Fang did not want to activate the longevity lamp again unless it was a matter of life and death. The longevity lamp was still burning. It emitted a terrifying soul-devouring power. Su Fang was about to put the longevity lamp into his Tao palace. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan, the 6 paths heavens cultivators, and the surviving alien race cultivators were already scared out of their wit. There was no need to activate the longevity lamp to deal with them. However, at this moment another change occurred. The huge blood door in the sky, which had calmed down, suddenly burst out with crimson light. A shocking aura emerged from the door. The aura was extremely powerful. It was at the peak of the Tao Saint realm. Half Daozu. An alien half-step Daozu is about to descend upon the 6 paths of heaven through the blood door. Su Fang's heart was filled with shock. He had thought that everything was over, but he had never imagined that another powerful foreign race expert would be on the way. Lord Yu Shui. Lord Yu Shui is coming. The foreign race cultivators who were lucky enough to survive all knelt down and kowtowed to the blood door. Their fear from before had completely vanished. I might as well kill that outsider half-step Daozu as well. Su Fang's eyes were filled with viciousness, decisiveness, and endless madness. He was actually planning to take advantage of the fact that the longevity lamp's power had yet to completely disappear to kill the half-step Daozu that was about to arrive. Such a decision was truly crazy to the extreme. Su Fang endured the excruciating pain in his soul. Trembling, he controlled the longevity lamp and activated the wasp wing Xian Bao. Together with the longevity lamp, he flew toward the huge blood door. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Those foreign race cultivators who were lucky enough to survive were in deep trouble. They had thought that they had escaped death, but they had never imagined that Su Fang would be so crazy as to even want to kill the half-step Daozu of the foreign race. Once the longevity lamp was 10,000 miles away from the foreign race cultivators, its terrifying power immediately enveloped them. Their souls immediately flew uncontrollably toward the longevity lamp. Then, it was the reincarnation sect master and the 6 paths heaven cultivators. Their attention was all on the blood door. By the time they realized that their souls were about to leave their bodies and wanted to escape, it was already too late. Whoosh, whoosh. The souls of the foreign race cultivators and the 6 paths heaven cultivators flew uncontrollably toward the longevity lamp. Pa, 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 pa. The flames of the lamp flickered, and those souls were immediately incinerated into pure soul energy that was stored in the oil lamp. As expected of a Tao saint, Sacred Lord Luanzhuan was still holding on bitterly. However, he would not be able to hold on for long. Even the 3-headed monster and the leader of the coffin sect could not escape the longevity lamp's domineering power. In the end, they were turned into oil, let alone Sacred Lord Luanzhuan, who had just become a Tao saint not long ago. Whoosh, an illusory figure quickly formed outside the blood door. One could already vaguely see its appearance. It was a 2-meter-tall foreign race cultivator. He wore a black cloak, and his body was covered in black armor. There was a layer of black keratin on his face, and there were 2 antennae on his head. Sharp fangs protruded from his mouth, and he looked ferocious. However, this foreign race cultivator's aura was extremely shocking. It was even more terrifying than the half-step Daozu Xianjing, the Western Black Mountain Sovereign, and the sentencing sect's Grand Elder that Su Fang had seen before. Even if Su Fang was at his peak, he would not be able to fight against such a powerful cultivator. It would be difficult for him to even escape. So what if you're a half-step Daozu? Su Fang's eyes flashed with determination. Then, he activated the longevity lamp with all his might. The flame of the longevity lamp suddenly rose to a height of more than 3 feet and exploded with terrifying power. It instantly sucked in Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's soul and swallowed it. The foreign race cultivator's illusory figure trembled violently. His soul was about to leave his body. Su Fang's face turned pale. The muscles on his face contorted, and his entire body trembled uncontrollably. At this moment, his origin soul had become the wick of the longevity lamp. Activating the longevity lamp was equivalent to burning his soul. If one didn't have an astonishing will, who would be able to endure such pain? Master, if this continues, your soul will definitely be severely injured. You might even lose consciousness and fall into an eternal slumber. The longevity lamp's origin spirit transmitted its thoughts to Su Fang. Longevity lamp, we can't care about the consequences now. Use all your strength to help me kill that foreign race cultivator first. Yes, master. Be careful. I don't want to have to find a new master after just recognizing him as my master. Longevity lamp? Who would have thought that the legendary Grand Mist heavenly treasure, the longevity lamp, would appear in the hands of a human cultivator? The foreign race cultivator's figure had yet to fully materialize. He emitted a beast-like voice, full of surprise and shock. Under the power of the longevity lamp, the foreign race cultivator's soul was stripped from his body. Puny human, I'm a supreme existence second only to your human race's Daozu. How dare you try to kill me with the longevity lamp? I'll skin you alive and pull out your tendons in a moment. The foreign race cultivator bared his fangs and roared angrily. His sharp teeth were clearly visible. You're about to die, yet you still dare to be so arrogant. Su Fang laughed coldly. His eyes were filled with madness. In his current state, if he didn't use the longevity lamp to kill the foreign race cultivator, he would die in the hands of the foreign race cultivator. Su Fang had no choice but to risk his life. How terrifying was the longevity lamp's power! With Su Fang's current strength, unless it was the Daozu, all life forms below the Daozu would not be able to escape the fate of being devoured by the longevity lamp. The foreign expert called Yu Shui was extremely powerful, but he had yet to complete the spatial teleportation. Under the domineering might of the longevity lamp, there was nothing he could do. His soul began to separate from his incorporeal body, flying towards the longevity lamp. Human brat, I'll remember you. Remember my name, Yu Shui. No matter where you run to, I'll never let you go. The foreign race expert's soul shadow suddenly parted its hands, and its entire soul split into two. One half was devoured by the longevity lamp, while the other half, along with its body, turned into nothingness. In the end, it disappeared without a trace. This foreign race cultivator named Yu Shui was also a powerful cultivator. Seeing that his soul was about to be devoured by the longevity lamp, he used a forbidden technique to split his soul. Then, he decisively cut off his teleportation. In this way, although he lost half of his soul, he managed to preserve his life. Su Fang was also an arrow at the end of its flight. The excruciating pain of his soul being burned caused his entire world to burn. His will began to crumble and his consciousness began to blur. He used all his strength to maintain his last bit of consciousness and sucked the longevity lamp into his Dao palace. Boom! After devouring half of Yu Shui's soul, the longevity lamp suddenly lit up several times brighter. The lamp's oil, which was almost full, suddenly overflowed from the longevity lamp. An incomparably pure soul power instantly seeped into Su Fang's soul. It felt as if a bucket of water had been poured onto a burning flame. The flame was instantly extinguished. Su Fang's consciousness also suddenly became clearer. Heaven's divination, disrupt the heavenly secrets. Heavenly secrets life shrinking technique, conceal the aura. Taking advantage of this short moment of clarity, Su Fang used the heaven's divination and the heavenly secrets life shrinking technique to disrupt the surrounding void and conceal the aura of destiny. Whoosh! Su Fang used all his strength to teleport out. His body quickly became illusory and disappeared into the void. After a few times, Su Fang released Qin Yu. Brother Qin Yu, quickly leave this place. Before he could finish his words, his head tilted to the side, and he completely lost consciousness, falling unconscious. Qin Yu transformed into a huge Qin Peng. He opened his mouth and swallowed Su Fang into the space in his stomach. Then, he used his innate ability to break through the void and leave. Less than half an hour after Su Fang left, the blood door in the sky above the world of reincarnation once again exploded with terrifying divine power. Two figures jumped out of the door. The figures quickly turned from illusory to solid. They turned into two foreign race experts. One of them was the half-step Daozu expert Yu Shui, whose soul had been devoured by the longevity lamp. The other figure was illusory and surrounded by gray fog. He looked very mysterious. Yu Shui had lost half of his soul. If not for his powerful innate ability to split his soul, he would not even be able to survive, let alone come here. A cold divine light swept across the surrounding void. Other than the corpses of Sacred Lord of Reincarnation and some 6 Paths Heavens cultivators and foreign race cultivators, there was no one else to be seen. Even the world of reincarnation had disappeared without a trace. Yu Shui said in surprise, "Someone has interfered with the heavenly secrets. It is difficult to investigate what happened here. Could it be an expert of the human race's destiny platform?" Chapter 3094. Yu Shui waved his hand. Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's body flew into his hand. His consciousness entered Sacred Lord Luanzhuan's body and found that his soul had been devoured. Naturally, he could not find any clues from his memories. Yu Shui continued to grab the bodies of other 6 Paths Heaven cultivators and foreign race cultivators. The result was the same. A dim light flashed in Yu Shui's eyes. He snorted. "The million-strong army has probably been killed." The gray fog figure trembled. Could it be Daozu of the human race? Only Daozu could wipe out the million-strong army. It seems like these useless human cultivators of the 6 Paths Heaven were tricked by the Western Mystery Mountain. Daozu of the human race personally set a trap here, causing the million-strong vanguard army to be wiped out. It seems like this is the only way. I was attacked by a human expert when I was just teleported here from the Sacred Gate. It was a soul attack. I had no choice but to lose some of my soul energy in order to escape the calamity. Yu Shui said faintly. Then, he kept all the corpses. He did this because he did not want the gray fog figure to find any clues from the corpses. What kind of treasure was the longevity lamp? Of course, Yu Shui wanted to keep the longevity lamp for himself. He would not let the other experts know that the longevity lamp had appeared in the hands of a human Dao Void cultivator. I have to report this to the higher-ups. Yu Shui, you have to think carefully about how to explain this to them. Yu Shui, the higher-ups will definitely be furious. You will not be able to escape punishment this time. A cold voice came from the gray fog. Then, the gray fog rolled and floated into the huge blood gate, disappearing without a trace. As long as I get the longevity lamp, what is the loss of half of my soul and some punishment? Human brat, I have already grasped your aura. Even if you escape to the outer realm chaos, I will catch you. Yu Shui muttered to himself coldly. Then, a black cloud surged out from under the cloak. It quickly condensed into a group of black beetles that looked like ants. With a swoosh, they flew in all directions. Qing Yu used his innate ability to travel through the inner realm chaos void. About 10 years later, only when Qing Yu's demonic power was almost exhausted did he stop. He sensed that Su Fang in his stomach was still in a state of deep sleep and showed no signs of waking up. We're in big trouble now. Let's find a place to hide first. Qing Yu was worried about Su Fang. They flew for another 3 months. Qing Yu found an area of floating ruins in the chaos void of the domain. In the ruins, Qing Yu discovered the lair of a group of golden-furred weasels. The golden-furred weasel was not a particularly powerful monster. In terms of strength, it was at most at the level of a Daolord. However, the golden-haired demonic weasel had a very special ability. The golden-haired weasel demon was able to emit an incomparably pungent odor, which was unbearable for cultivators and big goblin at the divine saint level. Even if they sealed off their sense of smell, it was useless. Therefore, very few cultivators and big goblins would dare to provoke the golden-haired weasel demon. Qing Yu had chosen such a place to hide because he wanted to be careful and avoid being hunted down by the outsiders. Qing Yu did not kill the golden-furred weasel demon. This way, the golden-furred weasel demon's stench could mask his demonic qi and escape from being hunted down. As for the golden-furred weasel demon's stench, Qing Yu could only endure it. No matter how smelly it was better than losing his life. What Qing Yu did not know was that it was precisely because of his caution that he and Su Fang managed to escape a calamity. Less than 10 years after he hid in the golden-furred weasel demon's lair, more than 10 black beetles arrived at the ruins of the lair. These black beetles were the ones that Yu Shui used to track down Su Fang. In the 6 paths of heaven, although these black beetles did not discover Su Fang's aura, they sensed Qin Yu's residual demonic qi and chased him all the way here. The black beetles' sense of smell was extremely astonishing. They were also very sensitive to the golden-furred weasel demon's stench. They did not dare to approach the lair, and were forced to leave in the end. However, Su Fang remained in a deep sleep. Qin Yu did not have any better ideas, and could only wait for him to wake up. Although Su Fang had lost his consciousness, the longevity lamp continued to refine the pure soul power and continuously seep into his injured soul. About 1,000 years later, Su Fang finally regained consciousness. "You little brat, you really scared me to death." Qin Yu could finally heave a long sigh of relief. "Brother Qin Yu, I've made you worry. Now you can go and recover in peace." Seeing Qin Yu's weak aura and the worry in his eyes, Su Fang's heart was filled with waves of warmth. After transcending the Pan Song universe, Su Fang's speed of improvement was astonishing. He had quickly distanced himself from Qin Yu, Bai Ling and the other big goblin. However, the familial relationship that they had built since the Pan Song universe had not been diluted by the difference in power. He sent Qin Yu into Fu Yao's cave abode, and took out the corpse of a divine saint of a foreign race for Qin Yu to devour. Fusing with the longevity lamp means that my soul will not be extinguished. In addition, I have a strong Tao heart and will. It is normal for me to recover so quickly. The intense pain of his soul being burned still existed. Su Fang could not even gather his thoughts and felt waves of fear. He did not dare to use the longevity lamp so easily in the future. Then, he entered Fu Yao's cave abode and sat cross-legged in the formation of time. As he absorbed the soul power in the longevity lamp, he swallowed pills to recover. After spending nearly 100,000 years in Fu Yao's cave abode, Su Fang's soul had finally completely recovered. He was also completely free from the terrible pain of his soul being burned. His cultivation had also recovered to its peak state. Next, it was time to digest what he had gained in the 6 paths of heaven. This time, the foreign race colluded with the cultivators of the 6 paths of heaven and tried to enter the Western mystic divine domain through the 6 paths of heaven. After suffering such a heavy blow, they will definitely not be satisfied. They have probably already begun to invade the Western mystic divine domain. With my current strength, although I can kill ordinary Tao saints, my strength is far from enough to face a true expert. An individual's strength is insignificant in the invasion of the foreign race. Even if I return to the Western Mystic Mountain now, I will not be of much use. Now, I can only increase my strength as quickly as possible and convert the various resources I gained in the 6 paths of heaven into my true strength. After some thought, Su Fang decided to continue staying here. He wanted to use his gains in the 6 paths of heaven to reach the upper Tao Void realm as soon as possible and increase his strength and various abilities. The gains this time were simply too shocking. It was not something that could be completely digested in a short period of time. Su Fang first separated his thoughts and searched the corpses of the foreign race cultivators. The results shocked Su Fang. There were more than 1,000,000 foreign race cultivators' corpses. Including the strongest 3-headed monster, there were 6 foreign race experts who were comparable to Tao Saint. This did not include leader Tian Coffin. There were also more than 3,000 foreign race experts of the Tao Void realm. The rest were all below the Tao Void realm. With so many foreign race corpses, it was a shocking amount of resources. Furthermore, Su Fang collected countless treasures and resources from the corpses. They formed a vast ocean in the Tao Palace. Most of these treasures and resources were obtained after the foreign race invaded the demon race and the southern mystic divine domain. There were also several king-grade treasures. Su Fang estimated that the treasures collected from the corpses alone surpassed the top forces of the divine domain, like the three highest profound sects and the Luo Shao sword sect. It should be known that these forces had accumulated for countless years to have such a deep foundation. However, Su Fang alone possessed wealth that surpassed the top forces. It could be said that he had become rich overnight. Su Fang did not stand on ceremony. He took out all kinds of treasures and let the cultivators and big goblin under his command choose to their heart's content. He also distributed a large amount of other resources to each of them so that they could increase their strength as quickly as possible. He also picked out the foreign race treasures that the human cultivators and big goblin could not use and gave them all to the heavenly devouring insect. The heavenly devouring insect was a glutton. It ate as much as it could and could even spit out the primordial energy. Su Fang urgently needed to increase his strength now. Of course, he would not feel sorry for the foreign race treasures that he could not use. He also gave Gui Gui a large number of foreign race corpses, so that she could increase her strength quickly. There were also countless spiritual items and elixirs that Su Fang used to increase the strength of his various spell bodies. As he could not cultivate in the Fuyao Cave abode, Su Fang flew out of the Fuyao Cave abode and set up a formation to cultivate in a ruin far away from the golden-haired weasel demon's nest. Besides comprehending the time mirage and cultivating the Jiuxuan Wuji Sutra, he also cultivated the heavenly secret life shrinking spell, heavenly mystery solution, my lord's 10 directions seal, formless heavenly wheels and other supreme abhijna. At the same time, his physical body urged the heaven-piercing blood king vine to devour the life essence and energy of the foreign race corpses. He used this to increase his Tao palace and physical body, as well as the heaven-piercing blood king vine at the same time. There was also an extremely important matter, which was to fuse with the blood coffin leader's blood coffin. Grabbing the blood coffin from the Tao palace, Su Fang's eyes became very energetic. The heavenly coffin leader's soul had been devoured by the longevity lamp. This powerful blood coffin had become an object without an owner. Su Fang's thoughts seeped into the blood coffin easily. There was another world inside the blood coffin. It was a vast blood-red space. A corpse floated in the center. It was the refined corpse of the heavenly coffin leader. The refined corpse's origin was unknown. Not only was its body extremely strong, it also cultivated a physical body. It also used the blood coffin to cultivate 9 spell bodies, which could use 9 different sealing abilities. The heavenly coffin leader's physical body had already perished in the 6 paths of samsara formation. The refined corpse had lost its soul and became a corpse. However, Su Fang did not care about this. What he cared about most was this blood coffin. If I can form a spell body with this blood coffin, I will have 9 powerful spell bodies together with the blood fury spell body. Su Fang was full of anticipation for this blood coffin. Once he cultivated 9 spell bodies, it would be very beneficial to Su Fang. By then, not only would he have powerful spell bodies, but he would also be able to use powerful sealing abilities.